Chapter 575. That's strange. The Inyang School's internal affairs elder smiled and said, "This is Central Continent's matter. Why didn't you ask Black Heaven Sect for help? Instead, you came all the way to my Inyang School to ask for help?" Yang Dingtian smiled at Zhu Hongyu and said, "Regarding this, senior brother Zhu should know best." Zhu Hongyu said, "City Lord Yang, what do you mean?" Yang Dingtian said, "I don't have the patience to act. Your father went to the Temple of Blood, the Joyous Palace, and the Ning clan of the South Sea, and tried to join forces with them to destroy the Cloud Sky Pavilion, Fisher City, and the West Continent's Council of Light. How am I going to ask Black Heaven Sect for help?" Zhu Hongyu said, "This is a rumor. My father is City Lord Yang Sr. Is it good for you to tarnish my father's reputation? Besides, my father joined forces with the evil ways to attack the Council of Light. Where did you get this top-secret information from?" "Temple of Blood. Duga Xiao came to tell me," Yang Dingtian said directly. Zhu Hongyu smiled and said, "You believe the words of a great devil? Regardless of whether my father colluded with the evil ways, City Lord Yang's relationship with the great devil of evil ways is quite deep." Yang Dingtian shook his head and said, "All right, let's not talk in riddles. Dear elders, I believe that all of you are already clear about the inside story. It's up to you to decide." Inyang School's internal affairs elder Tian Shich said calmly, "I don't understand what City Lord Yang is saying. My acting skills aren't good. Can everyone be frank?" Yang Dingtian said, "Next, the Council of Light and the evil ways will have a decisive battle in martial arts. How will Inyang School choose? Will you choose to stay out of it, or will you choose to uphold justice?" Inyang School's internal affairs elder Tian Shich said calmly, "Then I'm sorry, City Lord Yang Dingtian. Is there any benefit in standing on your side?" "Indeed, there are no benefits. I can't give you territory, nor can I give you anything, Yang Dingtian. However, if you choose to stay out of this, what will happen to your Inyang School after the Council of Light is destroyed by those evil ways? Aren't you afraid of becoming the next school?" The Inyang School's internal affairs elder was silent for a moment, and then said lightly, "I'm very sorry, City Lord Yang Dingtian. Inyang School doesn't take sides, and we have the right to not take sides." Tian Shij was speaking the truth. It seemed that some secrets were no longer secrets to the entire world. Because of Dongfang Bingling, Inyang School did not need to pick a side. Whether it was the Tiando League or the evil ways, no one dared to do anything to Inyang School. This was because Dongfang Bingling's position in the evil ways was only second to one person. With Dongfang Bingling around, who would dare to do anything to Inyang School? Yang Dingtian, "That's right. Because of Princess Mudan, you don't need to pick a side. But what if I win in the future, and want to take responsibility for what happened today? What will you do then?" Inyang School's Tian Shich said lightly, "City Lord Yang Dingtian, let's talk about this after you win. Furthermore, City Lord Yang Dingtian couldn't even get through today's crisis. And you still want to ask for help from Inyang School. How can we believe that you can win? Today, you couldn't even defeat Zhu Qingzhu and Gudu Iran. You aren't even qualified to be Li Ming's opponent. Yet, you keep saying that you will win in the future. Do you think we are fools? What about justice? What about the Tiando League's justice? Yang Dingtian, are you just going to sit there and watch justice collapse and be destroyed? Where did the righteous spirit of Inyang School go?" Tian Shich smiled lightly. "City Lord Yang Dingtian, let me tell you two things. First, every man for himself, and the devil takes the hindmost. Second, the winner takes all. Lastly, I will give you one last thing. There is no justice or evil in this world. If you lose too much, you will become evil. If you win too much, you will become righteous." Yang Dingtian looked at Lung Ao and said, "Senior Lung Ao, is this also your attitude?" Lung Ao said lightly, "You don't need to care about my attitude. Just mind your own business. That's enough." Tian Shich said, "All right, City Lord Yang Dingtian, please go ahead. You should have already eaten, so don't disturb us. May I ask where Elder Ning Busi and Elder Ching Debi are? I would like to pay them a visit," Yang Dingtian said. Ning Busi and Chung Debi were Dongfang Minmi's martial uncles. They were both in their 80s or 90s, and were the only two grandmasters left in Yinyang school. I'm sorry, these two martial uncles have gone traveling. You won't be able to see them, Tian Shich said. Then I have one more thing, Yang Dingtian said. Tian Shich frowned and said, my patience is about to run out. Master's wife, I want to take her back to Cloud Sky City, Yang Dingtian said. Oh, then please go ahead, Tian Shich said lightly. He didn't have any intention of asking him to stay. Lung Ao said, the Council of Light is about to go to war, and you want to take her away? She won't be in danger, Yang Dingtian said lightly. City Lord Yang, you have a good plan, Tian Shich sneered. But you're thinking too much. We won't express our attitude just because the sect master's wife is with you. You're thinking too much, Yang Dingtian said lightly. Goodbye. Yang Dingtian left. 4 hours later, Yang Dingtian brought along his master's wife, Hong Xiu, and 10 other maids. They rode on 2 giant demon eagles and flew towards the West Province. From beginning to end, they didn't see Dongfang Minmi, 800 miles away from Yinyang School, on Songling Mountain on Kumu Island. There was a stone cave that was bottomless. A man in a black cloak slowly walked in. This is a private abode. Sorry, we won't receive you. A deep and old voice came from inside. It was the Grand Elder of Yinyang School, the 6-star Grandmaster Ning Busi. The black-cloaked man ignored him and continued walking in. Friend, what's the meaning of this? Ning Busi said angrily. Then an incomparably powerful energy was pushed out. It was a force of hundreds of thousands of pounds. Even a giant beast would be pushed out. The black-cloaked man didn't seem to feel anything and continued walking in. It seems that we can't be kind today, Ning Busi said lightly. Then he closed his eyes and waited quietly. After a full 15 minutes, the black-cloaked man walked to the bottom of the cave and stood in front of Elder Ning Busi. Who are you? Ning Busi said lightly. Then, he stood up and slowly raised the dragon staff in his hand. Art of Dragon Rending, go. Elder Ning Busi roared and struck out with the dragon staff in his hand. Suddenly, thousands of fire dragons burst out from his body and entered the dragon staff. Then, they danced in the air and circled crazily. The countless fire dragons circled and instantly turned into a dazzling giant dragon. Roar! With a roar, it rushed toward the black-cloaked man. Art of Dragon Rending was Elder Ning Busi's trump card. Just this Xian technique alone wasn't the best. It was an upper 8th grade Xian technique. However, it wasn't just a Xian technique. There was also a martial soul in the dragon staff. A 1,000-year-old martial soul, the heavenly fire dragon snake. Therefore, its lethality was extremely shocking. That day, Shiman Wuya suffered a blow. Although he won, he also spat out a mouthful of blood. Seeing the fire dragon attack, the black-cloaked man lightly pulled out a sharp sword and shook it lightly. 10,000 swords return. In an instant, countless sword rays rushed out and condensed in the air. Then, they turned into a giant sword and rushed toward the fire dragon. Whoosh 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 whoosh. There was no loud noise or explosion. There was only silence and a destructive aura. Then the huge sword of light quickly shattered, and the fire dragon turned into ashes inch by inch. Finally, the entire light sword disappeared without a trace. And the fire dragon also completely dissipated in the air. The sword soul and the art of dragon rending cancelled each other out. Ning Busi didn't attack again. Instead, his whole body trembled. He looked at the black-cloaked man in front of him in disbelief. Although he tried his best to suppress it, and desperately held the dragon staff in his hand, his robe was still trembling. Then he suddenly knelt down. Yinyang School's Ning Busi greets the sovereign. The black-cloaked man lifted the cloak on his head and revealed Dongfang Minmi's face. He also knelt down. Dongfang Minmi greets martial uncle. Ning Busi couldn't hold it in anymore. Murky tears suddenly surged out. Sovereign, the heavens have pity on you. You're still alive. You're still alive. Then, Ning Busi's withered hand tightly grasped Dongfang Minmi's arm. That's not right, Sovereign. Why did your cultivation deteriorate? Ning Busi was puzzled. Also, although your spiritual aura is still the same as before, your energy aura has changed. Ning Busi didn't suspect that anyone would suspect Dongfang Minmi. This was because no one could impersonate a sword soul that recognized its master. Martial uncle, it's a long story. Dongfang Minmi faintly said. This body is no longer mine. It's Senior Lung Qingqian's. What happened to Qingqian? Ning Busi asked in a trembling voice. He's dead. He died at the hands of the demonic crown prince and the princess, Dongfang Minmi said. My disciple Yang Dingtian brought his body back. In the world of ice and snow, my body exploded into pieces, leaving behind an incomplete soul that entered Little Tian's body. Little Tian used the soul condensing shadow to find my soul in a miraculous spiritual illusion. Then, he used the million spirit demon fire to protect it. He extracted it from my body and injected it into the soul condensing shadow of the demonic spirit. This made my soul incomparably strong in an instant. Then it entered Junior Lung Qingqian's body and was resurrected. After Ning Busi heard this, he was instantly stunned. After Dongfang Minmi died, Yang Dingtian actually resurrected him? In this world, it was actually possible to resurrect the dead. This was more than miraculous. This Yang Dingtian was really like a ghost. If he could even resurrect the dead, then what else could Yang Dingtian not do? That's not right. After Qingqian died, his heart was also destroyed. Your soul took over his body. But without a heart, the entire body can't function, Ning Busi said. Dongfang Minmi grabbed Ning Busi's hand and pressed it against his heart. Suddenly, Ning Busi's face shook violently. What a powerful heart. This is the heart of a 2,300-year-old demonic spirit, Dongfang Minmi said. Now my soul and my heart have reached the limit of strength. Therefore, although my body has just broken through to the Great Grandmaster realm, it can still release astonishing combat power. The heavens have really taken pity on us. They allowed the sovereign to be resurrected and complete his unfinished business, Ning Busi said. This matter will be handed over to my disciple, Yang Dingtian, and I will wholeheartedly assist him, Dongfang Minmi said. How can this be? Ning Busi said. Although he is unpredictable and has unparalleled wisdom, he is still young. You still have to guide him for a few decades before you can become the head of the Yin-Yang school and hand over the world's righteous path to him. There's no need. He's much better than me. No matter what aspect, I'm far from his match, Dongfang Minmi said. I've already decided. Nominally he's the disciple, and I'm the master. But in reality, he is the master, and I am the follower. Ning Busi said bitterly. Since the sovereign has already decided, it is not good for me to say more. This time, when you return to the Yin-Yang school, are you going to directly pass on the position of Yang Dingtian? I did not return to the Yin-Yang school. I came directly to find martial uncle, Dongfang Minmi said. Now is not the time for me to reveal my identity. This time, I came to the Eastern Cloud State to find you first, and then to find martial uncle Dabii. Come with me to the Cloud Sky Pavilion, and prepare to fight to the death with Zhu Qingzhu's evil ways. Zhu Qingzhu, who else? Ning Busi asked. There is also the Joyous Palace and the Lonely Man, Dongfang Minmi said. Ning Busi said. The other side has 5 great masters, and we only have 4. Yes, we can barely fight. The other side has 6 great masters, and we have 5, Dongfang Minmi said. This battle will be difficult, but we must win, no matter the cost. Yes, Ning Busi said. I will bring you to find martial brother Dabii. At this moment, the cry of a crane suddenly came from afar. Someone is coming. Ning Busi frowned and gripped his dragon staff tightly. Dongfang Minmi immediately sheathed his soul sword, closed his eyes and bowed his head. In an instant, all the energy and spiritual aura in his body were withdrawn and disappeared without a trace. Half an hour later, Tian Shij's voice came from outside. Tian Shij greets martial uncle Ning. What's the matter? Ning Busi said lightly. Ning Yixing and Zhu Hongyu from the Black Sky sect came to visit. They must ask you to bring them to greet the old ancestor. Tian Shij said. Ning Yixing greets martial brother Ning. Ning Yixing from the Black Sky sect said. Grandnephew Zhu Hongyu kowtows to the old ancestor. Zhu Hongyu knelt down and kowtowed. Cousin, you are too polite. Ning Busi said lightly. We haven't seen each other for more than 10 years. I miss you very much, Ning Yixing said. Since you hate each other, there is no need to meet. You can go now, Ning Busi said lightly. Cousin, you still don't forgive me? Ning Yixing asked. Decades have passed. There is nothing to forgive. I just don't want to hear your voice, Ning Busi said. Then, I will take my leave, Ning Yixing said. Grandson will take his leave. Disciple will take his leave. The three of them rode the white crane and left the island. After a full 15 minutes, Dongfang Minmi said, They are here to test whether or not you went to help Yang Dingtian. Yang Dingtian also came? Ning Busi asked. Yes, he should have left by now, Dongfang Minmi said. He purposely let Zhu Hongyu and Ning Yixing see that he failed to ask for help from the Yinyang school. Ning Busi hesitated for a moment and said, Sect Master, are you not going to see Madam? Dongfang Minmi fell into silence. After a long time he said, It is enough for little Tian to see her on my behalf. I already owe her too much and I have already changed bodies. Perhaps it is best not to provoke her anymore. Ning Busi fell into silence again. After a long time he said, I heard that Bing Ling demonized and became the demon princess Mudan. Is it true? It is true, Dongfang Minmi said. Ning Busi said, No wonder Yinyang school has been too low-key recently. There is no spirit of justice at all. It turns out that someone is already planning for the future. Not only are they not sad about Bing Ling's demonization, they are actually glad. Yinyang school has been decaying for too long, Dongfang Minmi said. Ning Busi sighed and said, Let's go, Sect Master. I will take you to see junior brother Dabii. Now that you are back, we two old bones won't be idle anymore. Ning Busi found Cheng Dabii 1,300 miles away from Dongfang Yinzhou. Cheng Dabii had been wandering the world for more than 10 years, and had never returned to Yinyang school. Even the entire Yinyang school did not know where he was. Only Ning Busi could find him. In a rundown temple, the two of them saw a beggar who was emitting a stench. Let's go. Don't be idle. It's time to work. Ning Busi went forward and hit the old beggar with his stick. Go away, go away. Don't bother me, the old beggar said. Don't look, Ning Busi said. Don't look. I was the one who killed Sect Master. Don't look. Everyone says that Sect Master is dead, but I don't believe it. He is definitely not dead. The old beggar said angrily, I have traveled all over the world, following Sect Master's footsteps. I have already found a clue. The last place Sect Master disappeared should be in the north. Yes, a world of ice and snow, Dongfang Minmi said. Yes, a world of ice and snow. How do you know? Cheng Dabii said. Then he felt that the voice was familiar. He suddenly trembled and raised his head in disbelief. He saw a familiar figure and a familiar gaze. Sect Master. Cheng Dabii couldn't believe it. He was completely stunned as he looked at Dongfang Minmi. After staying in a daze for a few minutes, he crawled over and hugged Dongfang Minmi's legs, saying, I'm not dreaming, right? Sect Master, you are back? I was the one who harmed you. Dongfang Minmi sighed. Young Marshal Uncle Chung, it wasn't you who harmed me. It was someone else who harmed me. It's just that he used you to harm me. Even so, I can't forgive myself. Cheng Dabii cried loudly. I must find that person. I must find him. Okay, we will definitely find the person who harmed me. But now, there are more important things to do. Dongfang Minmi said. What is it? Cheng Dabii asked. Kill Zhu Qingzhu. Dongfang Minmi said. Yes, Cheng Dabii will follow Sect Master's lead. Cheng Dabii knelt on the ground. Dongfang Minmi sighed. We have 5 great grandmasters. We are still one less than Zhu Qingzhu. This battle won't be easy. 5 great grandmasters? Cheng Dabii said. Zhu Qingzhu's side has 6 great grandmasters? Yes, plus Happy Palace. Dongfang Minmi said. Sect Master. Maybe, we still have one more great grandmaster. Cheng Dabii suddenly said. Chapter 576. There's another grandmaster. Who is it? There are only a limited number of grandmasters in the world. Dongfang Minmi said. There were indeed only a limited number of grandmasters in the world. Especially before the war started, all the grandmasters in the Tiando League added up were only about one hand. Black Heaven Sect had 2, Yinyang School had 2, and Northwest Qin City had 1. When the war started, many grandmasters who had been hiding came out. For example, Black Heaven sect's grandmasters went from 2 to 4, and one of them had an unknown background. Even so, there were only a dozen or so great grandmasters in the world. At least, that was the case at the moment. Therefore, Dongfang Minmi was very surprised. He could not think of anyone who was a grandmaster and invited. You are very familiar with that person. You once saved his life. Chung Dabi said, shadowless. Him? Dongfang Minmi said in disbelief. He never cultivated mystical skills. He only cultivated swordsmanship and martial arts. A few years ago, he was at most a grandmaster. Shadowless. Inyang School's Punisher. His swordsmanship and speed were unparalleled in the world. In the battle with Shiman Wuya, he once stabbed Shiman Wuya. However, after the battle with Shiman Wuya, he secretly escorted Yang Dingtian to Cloud Sky City and disappeared. However, 3 years ago, when he fought with Shiman Wuya, he was at most a grandmaster. He was not even an advanced grandmaster. His strength had always been a mystery, because he was different from all the other warriors. Now he had become a grandmaster. How was that possible? This lunatic went to the taboo continent and did not die. After coming out, he became a grandmaster, Chung Dabi said. He went to the taboo continent. Does he want to die? Dongfang Minmi said in disbelief. The taboo continent was more than 10,000 miles west of the northwest continent. That continent was close to the abyssal ocean. It was the place where the Legion of Doom appeared several times. The reason why it was called the taboo continent was very simple. It was an absolute forbidden zone for life. The demon realm was already very scary, but it was nothing compared to the taboo continent. A few hundred years ago, countless people had entered the taboo continent, but no one had ever come out, including many great grandmasters. Dongfang Minmi had traveled all over the world, but he did not dare to go to the taboo continent. Even so, the taboo continent was a fatal temptation to every adventurer in the chaotic world. Just like Mount Everest's allure to climbers, the taboo continent was every adventurer's crown. Dongfang Minmi had been to the Demon Domain, the Dongli Grasslands, and even the Ghost Hell region. But he had never been to the Forbidden Lands. The reason for that was because going to other places could be considered as taking a risk. However, going to a forbidden place was akin to courting death. Because Sect Master has never been there before he went. Chung Dabi said. As your former sword attendant, perhaps he has always wanted to surpass you, at least in terms of risk. Of course, perhaps it's also because he doesn't take his life seriously. I don't know if he wants to surpass me. However, he definitely doesn't take his life seriously, Dongfang Minmi said. From the moment Shadowless started practicing martial arts, he did not take his life seriously. There was a saying that one would not die if one did not seek death. However, there was another kind of person who constantly sought death. Shadowless was such a person. He never cultivated mystic skills, only martial arts and sword techniques. He was an assassin, a killer. When he was the Inyang School's Punisher, he had killed countless people and had never failed. When he was still an ordinary grandmaster, he had already killed a high-level grandmaster. In order to study how to kill people, he needed to study and understand the structure of the human body. Therefore, sometimes he needed to dissect the body. However, while others dissected corpses, he dissected living people. Dissecting living people was fine. Others dissected other people, but he dissected himself. Therefore, when he was in the Inyang School, no one dared to enter the courtyard where he lived, because when you pushed open the door, you might see a person cutting open his own chest and observing his own heart. He might even use a knife to cut open his heart and study the internal structure of his heart. Of course, it wasn't just his heart. What he liked to dissect the most were his own meridians and mystic meridians, because he wanted to figure out whether the meridians were mystic meridians or not. This was a very common topic in the chaotic continent. Only he was filled with doubt and cut open his own meridians no less than 100 times. Then he came to a conclusion. Mystic meridians could be meridians, but meridians were not mystic meridians. Later on, his courting of death rose to a level. He wanted to study the sea of energy. Then he tore open his stomach. Moreover, he opened it dozens of times, but he did not find the sea of energy. In fact, There was no sea of energy in his entire stomach. Later on, he entered a deeper level of dissection. He began to search along the meridians in his body to see where they went in the end. In the end, under his lower abdomen, he really found a place where the meridians were sealed. Then, he began to study this place for several years. In the end, he came to a conclusion that this was not the sea of energy, but this was the entrance to the sea of energy. And the sea of energy was a virtual energy field. It had to be said that his research was the most profound in the entire chaotic continent's martial arts civilization. He was almost close to the truth. Such a person who was infinitely courting death, after playing with his own body to a certain extent, heard the news of Dongfang Minmi's death, and finally ran to the taboo continent to court death. Because Dongfang Minmi had never been to that place, and he heard that people would die there. Then, he did not tell anyone and went there. But what was unexpected was that no one came back from that place. Only he came back. Where is he now? Dongfang Minmi asked. I don't know. I think he's guarding a brothel. Chung Dabi said. In the East Continent's Baidi city, there was a very high-class brothel. The women here were basically as beautiful as flowers. However, it was different from other high-class brothels. Other brothels often sold their skills but not their bodies. This brothel only sold their bodies but not their skills. The women here had to be very beautiful and have good figures. But the highest requirement was the ability to serve men. They wanted every guest who came here to be unable to leave. In a luxurious house, a man and a woman were in the midst of battle. And on the roof, there was a person, silently lying on top, lifting the roof tiles and peeping. It was as if he was not breathing, staring down. His gaze was like a sharp sword. His entire body was like the night itself, weightless and without light. Just like that, he lay on the roof and peeped at the man and woman doing things. When Dongfang Minmi appeared beside him, he could not use words to describe his feelings. A grandmaster-level expert, not only was he a hired thug in a brothel, but he was also peeping at other people doing things. This was a scene that would make people go crazy. However, Dongfang Minmi did not disturb Shadowless's peeping. Instead, he waited quietly at the side. Finally, after a mournful howl, the man twitched until he was about to faint. Then, like a dead dog, he did not move. He had finished his business. Shadowless sat up silently, then closed his eyes and began to think. Damn, peeping at other people doing things. And he still needed to think. What kind of thing was this? After a long time, Shadowless opened his eyes and looked at Dongfang Minmi, saying, Master, you're here. He was definitely surprised, but his words were still very calm. Yes, I'm here, Dongfang Minmi said. Can I ask you, what are you doing here? Shadowless said, I'm observing. When people do that, spirit, strength, perception, and so on begin to condense. And when it reaches the limit, burst forth. I want to pursue that extreme perception ability and use it on sword skills. However, sex between men and women is a kind of accumulation and release of desire. So I'm thinking, is there such a thing that can let me overdraw my usual energy and wisdom and condense it into a short period of time? I use this time to think, practice the sword, and kill people. Then like a dead dog I lay there. The few people present did not understand what Shadowless said. But it didn't matter because the words he said were basically incomprehensible to others. Did you succeed? Dongfang Minmi asked. Sort of, Shadowless said. I found something. After inhaling it, my whole mind was instantly focused, and my spirit was instantly lifted. During that time, my killing power was extremely high. But after that, I became dispirited. You always look dispirited, Dongfang Minmi said. Okay. I became even more dispirited in my dispirited state, Shadowless corrected. Then Shadowless said, Master, people have 7 emotions and 6 desires, and they delay things. Say if you castrate yourself, will your martial arts improve greatly? Have you heard of such an example? Dongfang Minmi's face twitched. Do you have lust for women? Did you have lust when you were peeping? No, Shadowless said straightforwardly. Then there's no need to castrate yourself. Dongfang Minmi said, Okay, the thing you're researching is very profound, and it can't be solved in a day or two. Come with me to do something first. Okay, Shadowless said. I'll go and resign now. 15 minutes later, Shadowless resigned from the brothel's bouncer job, while cursing and swearing. That charming lady boss refused to let him go no matter what. And it was useless even when he increased his salary by 4 or 5 times. Later, the lady boss used her beauty to seduce him. In the end, Shadowless said something that almost made her vomit blood. It's useless. I once wanted to feel the spiritual condensation brought about by sex, and see if it's different from the feeling brought by that drug. So, I used to control you, and wanted to try that on you, but I failed. Seeing you always reminds me of the pork at the stall. The lady boss's sharp nails scratched his face, and she said sternly, Get out, get out. You bastard, you're crazy. Then Shadowless, Chung Dabii, and Ning Busi followed Dongfang Minmi to the Cloud Sky Pavilion just like that. Dongfang Minmi alone had brought 4 grandmasters with him. Under the sun, Dongfang Minmi realized that Shadowless didn't age, but became much younger. The scars that were originally densely covered in scars had disappeared completely. However, although his face was white, it was very unnatural, like a wall that had been painted with lime pale white. Shadowless, I heard you went to the taboo continent? Dongfang Minmi said. Yes, Shadowless said. How do you feel? Dongfang Minmi asked. I don't know. After I went in, it was like a dream, and then I came out in a daze. There seemed to be a lot of things in my head, but I couldn't dig them out. Shadowless shook his head. Anyway, it's a very, very strange feeling. It is very strange. After you went in, not only did you not age, but you became much younger. You're in your 50s, but you look younger than Yang Dingtian. Dongfang Minmi said. And the scars all over your body are gone. Yes, very strange, Shadowless said. You're still just practicing the sword? Dongfang Minmi asked. Yes, practicing the sword, Shadowless said. That's good. Yang Dingtian has a set of sword skills that should be the best in the world. You two can learn from each other. Of course, he's not your opponent, but that set of sword skills should give you new inspiration. Dongfang Minmi said. Oh, let's try it, Shadowless said. Then, the 4 of them didn't talk anymore, and continued to fly to the Cloud Sky Pavilion. 2 days and 2 nights later, Yang Dingtian and Masteress rode 2 demon eagles, and landed in the valley of Cloud Sky City. After Yin Yan heard the cry of the demon eagles, she ran out early with the baby in her arms. When she saw Yang Dingtian, she wanted to pounce on him, but when she saw Masteress behind him, her little face instantly turned red, and she became bashful. There was no other reason. When Shimin Yin Yan went to the Inyang school, she couldn't stand her father being humiliated, and she also couldn't stand Dongfang Bingling, so she was always displeased. Masteress was kind and gentle. When she saw Yin Yan's expression, she suddenly felt a little uneasy. But then, her gaze was completely attracted by the baby in Yin Yan's arms. Her eyes instantly widened, and her 2 jade-like hands had the urge to directly carry the baby. Yin Yan hurried over, and handed the baby to Masteress. Then with a red face she said, Masteress, you came. With one look, it was obvious that this girl didn't know how to speak properly. What did she mean by you came? Masteress carried the baby, and her eyes lit up. She held the baby in her arms, and her whole heart seemed to melt. She said softly, So heavy, so sturdy. You brought it so well. I brought it blindly, Yin Yan said embarrassedly. Then she said to the baby, Baby, call Granny. This is Granny, Auntie, the baby said sweetly. Suddenly, everyone burst into laughter, and some of the awkwardness was swept away. It's Granny, not Auntie, Yin Yan said. Granny, Auntie, the baby said. Hey, it's really my precious baby. Masteress kissed the baby's little face hard. For the past 2 days and 2 nights, she had been fantasizing about it. The feeling of holding the baby in her arms was really indescribable. Yang Dingtian walked to Jiao Jiao's side and whispered, Jiao Jiao, this is my Masteress. In the future, she will be in charge of you. She is equivalent to your mother-in-law. If you are insensible and make her angry, I will definitely beat you. Do you understand? After saying that, Yang Dingtian waited for Jiao Jiao to explode, who knew that Jiao Jiao would roll her eyes at him and whisper, Got it. Then, She looked at Masteress with a gaze filled with admiration. That shouldn't be the case. This young lady was more of an idiot, and didn't know how to conduct herself. Every time she faced Madame Shimen, she didn't say anything verbally, and was still respectful on the surface. But in front of young Ding Tian, she didn't hold back when speaking to Madame Shimen. So in general, a girl like Qin Jiaojiao might become a cute little wife, but she was basically not a filial and virtuous daughter-in-law. But now her attitude towards Masteress was actually so gentle, which really surprised young Ding Tian. As if she had gathered a lot of courage, Qin Jiaojiao stepped forward and said, You are Dongfang Bingling's mother? Masteress looked at her gently and said, Yes, you are Jiaojiao. Qin Jiaojiao said, Dongfang Bingling is so lucky to have such a gentle and beautiful mother. Unlike me, I call a cold and annoying woman my mother. Young Ding Tian understood. Qin Jiaojiao had almost lost her motherly love since she was young, and Qiu Ruhan was her mother in name. But she had always been cold and mean. When Jiaojiao saw Masteress who was gentle and loving from the bottom of her heart, she instinctively took her place. This made young Ding Tian surprised. The obedient and cute Yin Yan was a little awkward and unnatural when she saw Masteress. And the arrogant and shrewish Qin Jiaojiao was as obedient as a cat when she saw Masteress. Yin Yan saw that Hong Xiu and the other maids were a little uneasy, and stood at the side with joy. She quickly went forward and said gently, Sister, this will be your home in the future. I will bring you to see the rooms, okay? Greetings to Madame Yin Yan. Hong Xiu bowed, then stuck out her tongue and said, I'm sorry I scolded you before. I even scolded Dongfang Bingling. Shimen Yin Yan whispered embarrassedly. Can we grow vegetables and farm here? Hong Xiu asked. Of course, we can also raise silkworms and weave cloth. Yin Yan said. But we are all very lazy. If you want to grow vegetables, you have to be careful. There are many mischievous little demonic beasts in the valley, and they will definitely steal your vegetables to eat. When she said this, a little squirrel was tiptoeing into Bao Bao's room, preparing to steal Bao Bao's snacks. When it heard Yin Yan's words, it immediately turned around and stared at Yin Yan innocently with its eyes wide open. It spread out its hands and said, I didn't steal anything. Then in the blink of an eye, it ran away without a trace. Immediately after, the little bird that was on a lookout also ran away without a trace. At this moment in Bao Bao's snack room, there were sounds of insects chirping one after another. This was the big snake's signal, indicating that it had stolen the food, and whether it was safe outside. However, the little bird that was on a lookout had already run away. The big snake inside was pretending to be a bug, and its throat was about to go hoarse. Almost instantly, all of Hong Xiu's mates fell in love with this place. This place was really like heaven. Yin Yan sneaked to young Ding Tian's side and said softly, Husband, you can go and do your work. With you here, I can't even flatter Master's wife. Without you here, I can do better. Young Ding Tian suddenly burst into laughter and said, Okay, then I'll leave this place to you. Yes, by the way, there's a woman from the Snow Clan who came to Cloud Sky City to look for you. She said she came from a very, very far place, Yin Yan said. She's waiting for you in the VIP room. Woman from the Snow Clan? Wumaji. Young Ding Tian was shocked. Chapter 577. Did all the women of the Snow Clan have such seductive bodies? When young Ding Tian saw the Snow Clan woman, he couldn't help but sigh. The woman wasn't Wumaji, but she was dressed exactly the same as Wumaji. She wore a veil, revealing only her deep eyes. She was wrapped up tightly, and even her hands were covered with gauze gloves. The gloves were embedded with all kinds of beautiful gems. She was extremely conservative, but her snow-white waist was completely exposed. There was also a red gem embedded in her attractive belly button. Miss you are? Young Ding Tian asked. Brook Moni, she said. Why are you here? Young Ding Tian asked. It's about the princess of the Snow Clan Wumo Air, she said. Wumo Air? Young Ding Tian was confused. According to how you address her, she's called Wumaji, she said. Oh, what's up with her? Young Ding Tian asked. She's pregnant. It's your child, she said. Young Ding Tian was shocked. He'd calculated that Wu Maji was especially prone to pregnancy that day, so he'd put in a lot of effort. He hadn't thought she'd actually be pregnant. Yes, it's mine, young Dingtian said. Our Snow Clan's king wants to know what you plan to do, she asked. We'll completely eliminate Ning Wuming, and let this child inherit the Ning clan, Yang Dingtian said directly. I won't interfere. She was silent for a moment. Our king wants you to go to the Snow Clan, she said. When? Yang Dingtian asked. Now, said the Snow Clan woman. Sorry, I'm very busy right now. I can't go, Yang Dingtian said. It's very important. She was silent for a moment. If you become the true master of the hidden sect and rule the entire Chaos continent, what do you plan to do with the southernmost land? For now, I don't have any plans, Yang Dingtian said. If the Snow Clan rules the entire southernmost land, will you support it? She asked. I'll support Wu Maji's child to become the master of the Ning clan, regardless of whether the child is a boy or a girl. Yang Dingtian. We'll kill everyone in the Ning clan who's related to evil ways. The woman from the Snow Clan fell silent again. The Snow Clan live in the South Pole, so we're called the Snow Clan. The Snow Woman said. Do you know why we don't leave this desolate land of ice and snow and go to the extreme south? There are very few materials in this land of ice and snow. We even need the Ning clan to provide us with salt. I don't, Yang Dingtian. Snow she's a southernmost land. Southernmost land, southernmost land. She's southernmost land, southernmost lands. If you leave, you'll be giving up on the Snow Clan's cultivation method, said the Snow Clan woman. So in order to get enough materials, you don't want to leave the world of ice and snow. Therefore, she had no choice but to marry into the Ning clan. Thank you for the information, miss, Yang Dingtian said. I heard you've been in trouble recently. Zhu Qing is gathering the strongest forces to kill you, she said. Yes, Yang Dingtian said. Give me a demon eagle. I'll fly back to the Snow Clan as fast as I can. If I can make it in time, we might be able to send people to help. If not, then I'm sorry, she said. But the Snow Clan's experts will lose a lot of power once they leave the southernmost land. Therefore, please prepare a large amount of unfreezing water in advance. How much unfreezing water do you need? Yang Dingtian asked. I don't know. Maybe we'll need a lake. Yang Dingtian. We don't have that much unfreezing water, but the Cloud Sky Pavilion has a snowy mountain. I know that snowy mountain. The temperature isn't low enough, she said. How low do the Snow Clan's experts need when they fight? Yang Dingtian asked. Half the temperature of unfreezing water, she said. That was almost 100 degrees below zero. Where could they find such a place in this world? The snowy mountain in the Cloud Sky Pavilion was only 10 or 20 degrees below zero. Even the southernmost land of ice and snow was only 40 or 50 degrees below zero. Does the weather affect the Snow Clan's experts that much? Yang Dingtian asked. It's very important, she said. There's one thing I'm very surprised about. Yang Dingtian. Evil ways are feared everywhere. Even the Yinyang school didn't dare to help me. Why would the Snow Clan help me? The Snow Clan's woman fell silent. 2 reasons. The first reason is that our king and evil ways can't get along well. Of course, that's not our fault. The second reason is that we need a deal. A deal? What kind of deal? Yang Dingtian asked. Do you remember that you got the last item in the Demon City's merchant palace? But I don't know what it is, she said. Right, Yang Dingtian remembered. It was a pulsating green ball. However, no one knew what it was. Give it to us and we'll help you, she said. May I ask what it is? Yang Dingtian asked. It was the last item in the Demon City's merchant palace. How could it be simple? Yang Dingtian wanted to know the answer. I'm sorry, but I can't, she said. I'm sorry, but I can't give it to you either, Yang Dingtian said. The woman from the Snow Clan said. Don't you need our help? I don't know how many experts the Snow Clan can send to help me, Yang Dingtian said. 3 great grandmasters, 9 great grandmasters, is that enough? Asked the woman from the Snow Clan. Impossible, Yang Dingtian hissed. Absolutely impossible. Even the Yinyang school only has 2 grandmasters. How can the Snow Clan have 3? You'll see if there are 3 grandmasters soon, she said. Of course, when they arrive, They'll be placed in jade coffins in unfreezing water. They won't come out until it's time for battle. Also, the environment you prepare must be half as hot as unfreezing water. Otherwise, they'll only have half of their combat power left. Their cultivation will also be damaged. Yang Dingtian was shocked. Was there such a thing in the world? They could only fight at -100 degrees. Or their combat power would be greatly reduced, and their cultivation would be damaged. What was the point of the Snow Clan's strength then? He was trapped in an ice-cold prison. It wasn't strange for the Snow Clan to have 3 grandmasters. They were too strong compared to their surroundings. I'm sorry, but I can't make the environment half as cold as unfreezing water, Yang Dingtian said. Also, I don't agree to this deal. The Snow Clan woman fell silent. Actually, it's not very difficult to reach that temperature, she said. In Qin Wancho's territory, there's a place called the Li Water Manor. There's a lake there. If you touch the lake, you'll instantly freeze. That's because there's a 10,000-year-old ice-type monster under the lake, the Demoness of Mirage Spirits. If you can get your hands on it, it'll release enough cold energy to reach half the temperature of unfreezing water. How do you know that? Yang Dingtian asked. Even Qin Wancho himself doesn't know why the lake in Li Water Manor freezes. No one knows more about ice than the Snow Clan, said the woman from the Snow Clan. If that's the case, why don't you go get it? Yang Dingtian asked. We're all ice-type monsters. Before we even get close, we'll be completely suppressed. Only fire elemental experts can completely suppress it, said the woman from the Snow Clan. I'm a fire type, Yang Dingtian said. Of course you can't. Even if you're a grandmaster, you'll be frozen to death before you even get close, she said. There's no limit to the coldness in this world. But in Yang Dingtian's scientific knowledge, there was a limit to the coldness, which was absolute 0 degrees Fahrenheit. Even though there was no such thing as absolute zero in the universe. If we can't even catch this 10,000-year-old Demoness of Mirage Spirits, what's the point of telling us? Yang Dingtian asked. You can't, but you have a demonic fire phoenix. It's the descendant of a half-saint monster. It can devour limitless fire-type energy. The Snow Clan woman said. You can let it devour all the magma at the edge of the abyss, and then release it into the lake. Can the demonic fire phoenix defeat the Demoness of Mirage Spirits? Yang Dingtian asked. No, the Snow Clan woman said. The demonic fire phoenix's energy can't compare to the Demoness of Mirage Spirits. But it can at least injure it, so that the ice energy it releases isn't enough to kill a fire-type grandmaster. You can send a fire-type grandmaster to put it into an energy jade coffin as fast as possible. That way, it can block the terrifying ice energy it releases. When it's time to fight, it can be released. Then we'll still be frozen to death, Yang Dingtian said. When you fight, put it in the lake. You'll stay away from the water, and won't be frozen to death in the air, the Snow Clan woman said. What will happen to the demonic fire phoenix then? Yang Dingtian asked. I don't know, the Snow Clan woman said. Then I'm sorry, I refuse, Yang Dingtian said directly. I won't let the demonic fire phoenix take the risk, because it doesn't belong to me. Secondly, before I know what that pulsating green thing is, I won't make the deal. We've calculated. Even if you get support from the Yinyang school, you only have 4 grandmasters. It's impossible to beat Zhu Qingzhu's 6 grandmasters, the Snow Clan woman said. Plus, your request for help won't succeed, because Zhu Qingzhu also sent people to the Yinyang school. Your 2 grandmasters won't be able to beat your opponents. That's none of your business, Yang Dingtian said. The Snow Clan woman fell into silence. All right, you can still send a few demon eagles to follow me to the South Pole. Our king will still send the Snow Clan experts to the Cloud Sky Pavilion in coffins. When the time comes, if you want to trade, then trade. If you don't, then we'll take them back, okay? I'm even more curious now that you're so determined to get that item, Yang Dingtian said. The Snow Race woman immediately shut her mouth, and didn't intend to reveal anything about the Devil City's Merchant Palace's finale item that Yang Dingtian had auctioned off. All right, Yang Dingtian said. Come with me to the Cloud Sky Pavilion. I'll immediately send 2 demon eagles to follow you to the Snow Clan. Okay, the Snow Clan woman said. After that, Yang Dingtian accompanied his master's wife for a meal. At this time, Yin Yin was no longer embarrassed. She was back to her sweet and cute self. She got along well with her master's wife. Then, she and Jiao Jiao treated their master's wife like a mother-in-law. The two women competed with each other to please their mother-in-law. With two daughters-in-law like this and a cute baby, her master's wife's happy smile never stopped. After the meal, Yang Dingtian and the Snow Clan woman flew to the Cloud Sky Pavilion. When they arrived at the Cloud Sky Pavilion, their master had already returned with 3 people behind him. Yang Dingtian wasn't too surprised by Ning Busi and Cheng Dabiai's arrival. With their master's help, these 2 people would definitely come. Yang Dingtian's request for help from the Yinyang school was just a smokescreen. However, Yang Dingtian was pleasantly surprised to see another person. This was also an old acquaintance. He was the punisher of the Yinyang school, Shadowless. In the past 3 years, Yang Dingtian had never heard of him. It was as if he had completely disappeared from this world. He didn't expect to see him here today. Greetings, Grand Uncle Master Ning and Grand Uncle Master Cheng. Yang Dingtian was about to go forward and kneel. Don't be like this. You're the master of the Yin sect. We can't accept this. Cheng Dabiai immediately went forward to help him up. Yang Dingtian went to Shadowless and bowed. Greetings, Grand Uncle Master Shadowless. Shadowless nodded and said, I heard that your pig-slaying swordsmanship is very powerful. He was really direct. Yang Dingtian immediately nodded and said, Yes, it's quite powerful. I heard that it's the best in the world. Then let's exchange some pointers. Shadowless said directly. This person was really too direct. Okay. I'll definitely exchange pointers with Grand Uncle Master later, Yang Dingtian said. But now we have something important to discuss. Then, Yang Dingtian looked at the few people in the room. The few great masters on Yang Dingtian's side were all here. Now we have 5 great masters on our side, Yang Dingtian said. Yes, 6. Dongfang Minmi said. Your Grand Uncle Master Shadowless is already a great master. Suddenly, Yang Dingtian and Qin Wancho were both shocked. Shadowless had actually become a great master. This was too heaven-defying. He didn't cultivate his martial soul or Xian skills. He only cultivated his martial skills. He could also become a great master like this. There was no need to mention Shadowless's talent. Shiman Wuya had long said that if he was willing to cultivate his martial soul, Xian skills, and other cultivation methods, and then complement each other, he would have already become a great master. In his words, he would never be able to become a great master just by cultivating sword skills. They didn't expect him to actually become a great master. Brother Shadowless becoming a great master is really a pleasant surprise. Qin Wancho said. But this way, we still only have 5 great masters. There's still the ancient giant beast Xiao Xiao. Yang Dingtian said. Zhu Qingzhu knows how powerful the ancient giant beast is. He definitely won't fight on the sea. Qin Wancho said. Xiao Xiao can transform into human form, but its cultivation will be weakened by many times. However, it's still a great master. Yang Dingtian said. Qin Wancho was immediately overjoyed and said, 6 great masters against 6 great masters. The great masters are also evenly matched. This battle will be worth fighting. Can we win? Yang Dingtian said. At least we won't lose. Qin Wancho said. It's a pity that Duga Xiao won't make a move. Otherwise we'll definitely win. If he doesn't make a move, perhaps no one here will be a match for Zhu Qingzhu. Perhaps that ancient giant beast Xiao Xiao will be pleasantly surprised. Her, Yang Dingtian said. She definitely won't be killed. However, it'll be very difficult for her to win. She's very powerful, but her brain is very simple. She only knows how to fight in the most direct way. Are you prepared to use that trump card? Qin Wancho asked. He obviously meant Naga. No, now's not the time, Yang Dingtian said. Then this battle can only be won at best, Qin Wancho said. If we add 3 more great masters, will we definitely win? Yang Dingtian asked. Definitely, and we'll be able to keep Zhu Qingzhu. Qin Wancho said. But there's no other great master in this world, let alone 3. Yang Dingtian said. Someone from the Snow clan in the extreme south came looking for me. They told me two things. First, Wu Maji is pregnant. Yang Dingtian's face turned slightly red. Fortunately, no one would laugh at him for this. Second, they want to make a deal with me. Yang Dingtian said. They want the treasure I bought at the merchant hall in the Demon City. And it looks like they're determined to get it. I don't know what it is, or what it's used for. However, since the Snow clan wants it so badly, it's obviously a treasure. As long as I give it to them, they're willing to send 3 great masters and 8 or 9 great masters to help me. Instantly, everyone fell into silence. Yang Dingtian continued. However, the conditions for the Snow clan's experts to fight are very harsh. They need to fight in an extremely cold environment. Otherwise, their fighting strength will be greatly reduced, and their cultivation will also be damaged. In this extreme cold, they need to be at half the temperature of non-freezing water. That's impossible, Qin Wancho said. The Snow clan told me a way to create this kind of fighting environment. Yang Dingtian said. The lake in your Lishui manor, as long as you touch the water, you'll instantly freeze. Yes, I still don't know the reason, Qin Wancho said. I also dived into the water to investigate. However, I didn't even reach 20 feet into the ice before my entire body froze, and I couldn't move an inch. Because in the depths of the lake, there's a 10,000-year-old demon mother of fantasy spirit. This is an extremely cold demon beast from the bottom of the sea, and it survived the great destruction of the ancient era. Yang Dingtian said. As long as you catch this 10,000-year-old ice demon beast, you can create an extremely cold fighting environment. You also know that I can catch this demon mother of fantasy spirit. Although the Nagashuang wasn't strong, it didn't fear any injuries and could command any ancient sea demon beast. Therefore, it was very easy to catch this demon mother of fantasy spirit. The key was whether or not to take out the final item of the Demon City's merchant palace to trade with the Snow clan. Little Tian, you're the highest leader, so this matter can only be decided by you, Dongfang Minmi said. Whether or not the trade is done, we'll completely obey. Yes, sect master, you decide, Qin Wancho said. Even if we don't trade, we have 6 great masters, and we're already in an invincible position. And for this war, if we don't lose, we'll win. Yang Dingtian nodded and said. However, whether or not the trade is done, it's necessary to catch that demon mother of fantasy spirit. It's better to be prepared. However, that's your territory, Martial Uncle Qin, so that demon beast should also be considered yours. I'm very willing to offer this Lishui manor, and everything inside. Qin Wancho said. Thank you, Martial Uncle Qin, Yang Dingtian said. Then, Yang Dingtian immediately brought Xiao Xiao and Shuang Er to the Lishui manor to catch that 10,000-year-old ice demon. At this moment, Shadowless suddenly said, Yang Dingtian, you're done talking, right? Yes, Martial Uncle, Yang Dingtian said. Good, then let's exchange pointers, Shadowless said. Yang Dingtian was startled, then said, Yes. Dongfang Minmi stepped forward and said, Little Tian, is it convenient for you to teach the pig-slaying sword technique? If it's convenient, Shadowless's pig-slaying sword technique might be 10 times more powerful than yours. It's convenient. There's nothing inconvenient about it, Yang Dingtian said. Immediately, Shadowless couldn't wait to draw his sword. Yang Dingtian also drew his soul sword, and the two directly prepared to exchange pointers in the secret room. Martial Uncle, this sword technique of mine is divided into 9 levels, from complex to simple. The first level is the Shiwu 9 Tribulation Sword. Of course, it's the high-level state of the hidden sex swaying calamity crossing sword, Yang Dingtian said. When these words came out, everyone was instantly stunned. The hidden sex swaying calamity crossing sword was already the #1 sword technique in the world, but it was merely the lowest level of the pig-slaying sword technique. Chapter 578. Yang Dingtian gently swung the sword in his hand. The first tribulation, Sword of Advent. Whoosh! Suddenly, Yang Dingtian's figure was like a red-crowned crane, moving around and changing in the narrow secret room. The sword light was blurred, and his footsteps were graceful like an immortal. Although the secret room was very small, Yang Dingtian's sword seemed to be floating all over the world. However, it did not feel the slightest bit cramped. Instead, it felt that the whole secret room was vast and boundless. Shadowless originally drew his sword and wanted to go forward to learn from each other. However, after seeing Yang Dingtian's first move, he retreated to the side. Because he found that this kind of learning did not need the sword, just the heart was enough. The second tribulation, sword of all lives. The third tribulation, sword of ruthlessness. The fourth tribulation, sword of ecstasy. The fifth tribulation, sword of boundless. The sixth tribulation, sword of selflessness. The seventh tribulation, sword of great compassion. The eighth tribulation, sword of nirvana. The ninth tribulation, sword of innocuous. Whoosh 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 whoosh. Endless swords, endless shadows. The whole secret room was completely filled with Yang Dingtian's sword shadows. Almost every move, every style, left an afterimage in the air. At this time, even if Yang Dingtian finished the sword technique, it felt like the whole sword intent was still all over the air. When these thousands of shadows were connected together, it was the complete Shiwu 9 Tribulations sword, the best sword technique in the world. Almost all the people present were intoxicated by it. Yang Dingtian had almost never really used the Shiwu 9 Tribulation sword, because in battle, he used the pig-slaying swordsmanship more. In the chaotic world, swordsmanship and sword moves were very neglected. Therefore, although the few great masters present stood at the top of the martial arts civilization, their understanding of swordsmanship was not at the peak. At this time, after seeing Yang Dingtian's moves, they were almost completely shocked. They were even eager to change their style and immerse themselves in the study of swordsmanship. This was indeed the best sword technique in the world. Every move and style was so mysterious and so gorgeous. It was as if every move exhausted all the spiritual energy between heaven and earth. Every style burned all the brilliance. Yang Dingtian's moves were not swords, as if they were the vicissitudes of the world, the disasters of heaven and earth. No wonder he was the best sword technique in the world. Senior, what do you think of this sword technique? Yang Dingtian asked. Profound and mysterious, Shadowless said. But I have a feeling that this sword technique has reached its peak. But I don't know how to make it better. As soon as he said this, Yang Dingtian was amazed. He was indeed the best swordsman in the world. He was able to grasp the essence of this set of swordsmanship immediately. Have you memorized all the sword moves? Yang Dingtian asked. Got it, Shadowless said. This time, Yang Dingtian was even more shocked. Although the Shiwu 9 Disaster sword only had 9 moves, they were extremely complicated. There were at least hundreds of movements and thousands of angles. Previously, Yang Dingtian had been engraved in his mind, and he had practiced it countless times. As for Shadowless, he had already memorized it after reading it once. I'll do it again. This is the second time, Yang Dingtian said. Shadowless frowned. He had already memorized it. Why did he have to do it again? Then, Yang Dingtian performed another set of the Shiwu 9 Disaster sword. Instantly, everyone saw the scene of an immortal performing a sword dance again. They were shocked and amazed again. Yang Dingtian asked, Seniors, what do you think of this time? Qin Wancho said. It seems a bit simpler than last time. It doesn't look as profound. Dongfang Mimi nodded and said, From the looks of it, it seems to be inferior to the previous one. Yang Dingtian looked at Shadowless. Martial uncle, what do you think? It seems a bit stronger than last time, Shadowless said. Everyone felt that the second time wasn't as profound as the first. Only Shadowless felt that the second time was better. Yang Dingtian said, I'll do it a third time. Then Yang Dingtian did it a third time. Then the fourth time, the fifth time, the sixth time, the seventh time, the eighth time, and the ninth time. This set of swordsmanship was simpler and more straightforward than last time, and more vulgar than last time. Therefore, the few great grandmasters present fully felt the feeling of burning the zither and cooking the crane. They watched an immortal Shiwu 9 Disaster sword turn into a butcher's pig-killing swordsmanship. That feeling was really too painful. They watched helplessly as a peerless beauty turned into a flower that picked its nose. This is the pig-killing swordsmanship. Qin Wancho said. Yes. Young Dingtian said. I understand now. The person who created this set of swordsmanship is definitely the #1 villain in the world. Qin Wancho said. It's as if a person pushed a peerless beauty in the most gorgeous clothes in front of you, instantly charming you and making you intoxicated. Then he stripped her clothes. You were still intoxicated, and even had your blood boiling. But then, he peeled off the skin of the beauty, turning it into horrifying flesh and blood. Then he removed the flesh, leaving only a pile of white bones. Let me tell you, what peerless beauty, it's all an appearance. It's just a skeleton. Yang Dingtian couldn't help but be stunned. Qin Wancho's metaphor was really unique and accurate. Of course, it was also very bloody. Only Shadowless fell into silence after watching. After a full quarter of an hour, he looked at Yang Dingtian and said, I understand now. This set of swordsmanship of yours is indeed the #1 in the world. If we only talk about swordsmanship, even if you only have 80% of my speed and power, I'm still not a match for this set of swordsmanship. But after I learn this set of swordsmanship, your swordsmanship will be far inferior to mine. My understanding of swordsmanship is not something you can compare to. Yang Dingtian nodded vigorously and said, Yes, martial uncle. I'm at most a learner, and you're the one who comprehended it, and even modified it. Then I'll go learn it. Shadowless directly walked out and said, This set of swordsmanship is too difficult. I think I'll need a few days to learn it, at least tens of thousands of times. After saying that, a black shadow flashed and Shadowless directly disappeared. A few years ago, Shadowless's speed was already extremely shocking. And now, he was really called Shadowless. His teleportation speed was not inferior to the demonic spirit mist cloak at all. But Shadowless didn't have the demonic spirit mist cloak. Master, it's been 4 to 5 days since Zhu Qingzhu went to Evil Ways to ask for help. When do you think they'll launch a large-scale attack? Yang Dingtian asked. Soon. They might be waiting for South Sea Ning clan. Dongfang Minmi said. In this battle, South Sea Ning clan won't be of much use anymore. After all, they don't have a grandmaster. Yang Dingtian said. They don't have a grandmaster, but Zhu Qingzhu is cooperating fully with Evil Ways. They can't avoid Li Ming's representative. If Ning clan doesn't go out, Joyous Palace won't be at ease. Dongfang Minmi said. Then I'll go get that phantom spirit demoness. Yang Dingtian said. Martial Uncle Qin, come with me. Yes. Qin Wancho said. Master, I'll leave this side to you. Yang Dingtian said. Don't worry. Dongfang Minmi said. Even if Zhu Qingzhu attacks now, we can barely avoid defeat. A few hours later, Yang Dingtian and Qin Wancho once again flew to Lishui Manor. The entire northwest continent was a land that had been torn apart. It had been damaged by the ancient era and destroyed by the world-ending war. Therefore, compared to other continents, the northwest continent was in ruins. Everywhere was charred black and blood red. That kind of lush scene was more common in the south of Sunset Mountain Range. Within a few hundred miles of Lishui Manor, it was practically a piece of charred land. There was barely any greenery to be seen. Only Lishui Manor was lush and verdant. It was like a fairyland with clear water and green mountains. Even in the southwest continent, or even the central continent, it was rare to see such a nourishing land. Previously, no one knew why it was like this, but now they understood. This was because there was an underwater ice demon from the ancient world below. The ice energy it released cured the fire poison on the land, causing the land within dozens of kilometers to become moist and cool. After thousands of years of nourishment, the charred land finally turned into a fairyland-like oasis. Arriving at Lishui Manor's lake, Yang Dingtian looked at the mirror-like water surface and said, Martial Uncle, if you take out that 10,000-year-old ice demon, this lake and this beautiful scenery might disappear. Don't you think it's a pity? For the sake of the greater cause, what's there to feel pity about? Qin Wancho said. After I occupied this place and built Lishui Manor, it was difficult for me to enjoy it. It's hard for me to enjoy it. I'm too busy. Then you wait here. I'll go down. Yang Dingtian said. What about Queen Naga? Qin Wancho asked. He had never seen Yang Dingtian bring her out of Naga. I can summon her at any time, Yang Dingtian said. Qin Wancha was shocked. Could it be that Naga had the ability to tear apart space? That plane was too creepy. But the more mysterious and powerful Yang Dingtian and Naga were, the more confident Qin Wancha was. Yang Dingtian leaped lightly and jumped into the lake. As expected, as soon as it came into contact with the lake water, the entire lake surface within a dozen li was instantly frozen. Then Yang Dingtian released his mystic energy and broke the ice. The deeper he went, the colder it became. When he was less than 10 meters deep, it had reached the temperature of unfreezing water. Yang Dingtian continued to go deeper. He found that his whole body had started to freeze. Then his mystic meridians also froze. Next, his energy sea and even his soul would be frozen. Could it be that the coldness of this world was really infinite? Yang Dingtian was now a 5-star 9th-grade grandmaster, but he still had ice energy that could completely freeze him. He didn't dare to be careless. It was okay to test his ability, but there was no need to risk his life. Yang Dingtian took a few steps back and woke up Naga Shuang in the spatial ring. Once Naga fell asleep, it was very, very difficult to wake her up. Later, Shuang secretly told Yang Dingtian about the most sensitive part of her body. As long as he scratched it gently, she would wake up immediately. Yang Dingtian reached a few inches below Shuang's waist and 2 inches below her tailbone. He found a completely different scale and gently bent it in the opposite direction. Naga trembled and immediately woke up with a cry. Then, she came out of the spatial ring and wrapped herself around Yang Dingtian. She kissed Yang Dingtian's mouth and said in a sweet voice, "Husband, you can't do this. Shuang can't take it if you keep playing like this." Then, she hung on Yang Dingtian's body and continued to fall asleep. Once Naga fell asleep, she was very sleepy. It was very difficult to fall asleep in an extremely cold environment. At this time, the temperature was completely below -100 degrees Celsius. In such an environment, Yang Dingtian didn't feel very good, but Naga Shuang could still sleep. Yang Dingtian stroked her delicate body and found that her body was still warm, as if the bone-piercing cold had no effect at all. After carrying Shuang, Yang Dingtian continued to move forward. Then, he suddenly found that Naga Shuang was releasing an energy field. In this energy field, no cold could invade, and it could completely maintain a constant temperature. Then, Yang Dingtian found that he didn't feel cold anymore. Thus, Yang Dingtian kept going down, 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 and down. He kept using his soul sword to cut the ice deeper. 50 meters, 100 meters, 500 meters, 1,000 meters. Yang Dingtian was really stunned. So deep? Even a great grandmaster couldn't take it after a few dozen meters. Therefore, Yang Dingtian thought that the bottom of the lake was at most 100 meters deep. Who knew that it was completely endless? After 1,000 meters, he still couldn't see the bottom. However, the deeper he went, the smaller the area of the surrounding water became. The entire lake was like a huge funnel. Just like that, Yang Dingtian kept going down, down, down. 2,000 meters, 3,000 meters, 4,000 meters. Towards the end, the ice was already hard to the extreme. Yang Dingtian used a soul sword close to the emperor grade to cut it. Yang Dingtian was really shocked. One had to know that his soul sword was close to the emperor grade. Not to mention looking at ice. Even if it cut stone or steel, it would be like tofu. It could even cut an ordinary bloody black gold sword easily. At this moment, it was actually a bit strenuous to cut the ice. As for this ice, it was only condensed from water. Yang Dingtian took out a black gold dagger from his spatial ring and threw it out. Although it wasn't bloody black gold, it was still a treasure blade. One dagger was worth tens of thousands of gold coins. After throwing it out of Naga's energy field, it smashed into the ice. Then something shocking happened. The black gold dagger was instantly frozen. When it hit the hard ice, it instantly shattered. Even if it was a few tens of degrees below zero on Earth, it wouldn't be so scary. Thus, Yang Dingtian carried the sleepy Naga Shuang and continued to go down. 5,000 meters, 6,000 meters, 7,000 meters. The area at the bottom of the lake became smaller and smaller. Finally, when it was 9,000 meters, they reached the real bottom of the lake. Yang Dingtian understood. Before the ancient times, this place was actually an ocean. It was just that after the world was turned upside down it became land. And now, more than 9,000 meters below was the bottom of the sea of the ancient times. As for the 10,000-year-old illusory spirit demon mother, Yang Dingtian saw it. It wasn't scary or ferocious. Instead, it was very cute. It was a transparent jellyfish with a faint blue color. It wasn't big, only a meter in diameter. It was light and fluttering like a cloud. It was magnificent, and had a dreamy and mysterious blue color. It was also a demonic beast, but it was the simplest demonic beast. It only knew how to do two things. One was to suck with all its might. The other was to spit with all its might. At this moment, Yang Dingtian saw a pool of blue water at the bottom of the lake, and the jellyfish was swimming in this blue water. At this moment, it felt that someone was invading, so it opened the big umbrella on its body with all its might, spitting out a terrifying ice energy. Naga destroyed the entire underwater civilization, and the ancient times annihilated the entire chaotic world. No matter if it was the sea or the land, the martial arts creatures carried out a thorough cleansing. And this jellyfish was the simplest demonic beast. It had almost no martial arts ability. Moreover, it was in this blue water, so it survived the ancient times. After living for 10,000 years, even the simplest demonic beast had become incomparably powerful. Therefore, it nourished the entire land, turning the scorched land into an oasis. It was also the most stupid and the most cowardly demonic beast. If someone touched the seawater 10,000 meters above, it would be extremely scared. It spat out the ice energy with all its might, and instantly froze the entire lake. When it felt that there was no threat, it sucked back the ice energy, and the entire lake instantly thawed. In Yang Dingtian's imagination, the phantom spirit demonic mother was an extremely terrifying and mysterious 10,000-year-old demonic beast. He had also made absolute mental preparations, intending to use the dignity of the Queen of Naga to subdue it. Now it seemed that it was useless, and even the dignity of the Queen of Naga would not be able to command this jellyfish. If the ancient giant beast Xiao Xiao was said to have a problem with its brain, then this jellyfish simply did not have a brain. Even if the Jade Emperor came, it would not understand. It only knew one thing, and that was to suck, and spit. However, at this moment, Yang Dingtian's attention was not on this phantom spirit demonic mother. It was very easy to deal with it, and he just had to catch it directly. In fact, he was a little surprised, because after the Naga's energy shield enveloped this 10,000-year-old ice demon, all of its movements completely stopped, and it suddenly shrank into a ball. From a diameter of more than 1 meter, it became only the size of a fist. Then, Yang Dingtian directly caught it without any effort, and put it into a special energy shielding jade box. Almost in an instant, the entire lake instantly thawed. Qin Wanqiu, who was on the ground, clearly felt that the temperature of the air instantly rose by more than 10 degrees. Yang Dingtian focused his attention on the pool of blue water that the jellyfish was residing in. This pool of blue water was very small, less than 4 or 5 cubic meters, which was just enough for the jellyfish to swim around. However, Yang Dingtian clearly knew that this pool of blue water was absolutely not simple. Perhaps it was it that had nourished this phantom spirit demonic mother for 10,000 years, and also allowed it to escape the calamity of ancient extinction. However, Yang Dingtian did not discover anything in this water, and he could not even feel a little bit of energy. There was another point. This phantom spirit demonic mother had cultivated for 10,000 years, and possessed extremely terrifying ice energy. However, it still needed a source of energy, and it would not produce ice energy out of thin air. It would only absorb and release. The energy that supplied it for 10,000 years of cultivation must be incomparably terrifying. However, this pool of blue water, Yang Dingtian really did not feel anything strange about it. He would study it later. After Yang Dingtian filled the box of blue water, he directly closed it, and directly flew up with the phantom spirit demonic mother. Bang! Yang Dingtian directly flew out of the water. Before flying out of the water, Yang Dingtian put Shuang Air back into the spatial ring. During the entire process, this Naga queen had been sleeping, and did not even wake up, and did not know what had happened. Sect Master, it's a success, Qin Wancho said. And it's a success. Yang Dingtian. However, why do I faintly feel that the land below us seems to have some kind of change? Qin Wancho nodded and said, I feel it too. Then after this battle, I will return this phantom spirit demonic mother to the bottom of the lake, and I hope it will not anger this land. Yang Dingtian said. Yang Dingtian and Qin Wancho's senses were very sharp, and they both felt that the energy balance of this land seemed to have been broken. They did not know what the consequences would be, but they could feel that the consequences would be very serious. At this moment, Yang Dingtian even faintly felt that the nearby forest seemed to be slowly withering. Suppressing the uneasiness in his heart, Yang Dingtian was even more determined that no matter how precious this phantom spirit demonic mother was after this battle, he must return it to its original position. Yang Dingtian was flying towards the Cloud Sky Pavilion when suddenly, Zhu Hongxue stopped him in the air. Senior brother Zhu, what's the matter? Yang Dingtian asked. Shiman Zhu went to Cloud Sky City to find you, but you were not there. So the people of Cloud Sky City immediately sent the Demon Eagle messenger to the Cloud Sky Pavilion. You and Marshal Uncle Qin coming to Li Water Manor was a secret, so I specially waited for you here. Zhu Hongxue said. Shiman Zhu went to Cloud Sky City to find me? Yang Dingtian was surprised and puzzled. Was Shiman Zhu not afraid of death? He even dared to go to Cloud Sky City? Thank you, senior brother Zhu, Yang Dingtian said. Then he flew towards Cloud Sky City. Shiman Zhu greets the city lord. After seeing Yang Dingtian, Shiman Zhu immediately knelt down. You actually broke through to the Master Realm, Yang Dingtian said in astonishment. Yes, I obtained the evil spirit energy, Shiman Zhu said. Why did you come to Cloud Sky City? Don't you know that Cloud Sky City is a forbidden area? Enemies of the Tiando League and evil ways cannot enter, Yang Dingtian said coldly. I know. Palace Master Duga's grandson and Princess Mudan's mother are here, Shiman Zhu said. So, no matter if it's Zhu Qingzhu, Ning Wuming, or anyone else in the world, no one can enter Cloud Sky City's central castle with any hostility. No one had set such a rule. Duga Xiao did not say anything, and Princess Mudan did not say anything either. However, everyone already knew about this unspoken rule. Shiman Zhu, you are really amazing, Yang Dingtian said indifferently. You instigated a rebellion in Cloud Sky City. I suppressed the rebellion, but you ran away. Then you followed Qin Chichi's million-strong army to attack Cloud Sky City. Qin Chichi's army was completely annihilated, and you ran away. Then, as the exiled Cloud Sky City lord, you joined Zhu Qingzhu's Central State Army, and came to suppress my western region. The Central State Army was defeated, Zhu Qingzhu was defeated, and you ran away. Since the start of the Cloud Sky City Lord Marshal competition, you have escaped from my hands 4 times. Now you actually dare to deliver yourself to my doorstep. Are you not afraid of death? Do you think that I can't kill you because you have an undying evil spirit body? Of course you can kill me, Shiman Zhu said. However, I have no choice but to come. Speak, what is it? Yang Dingtian asked. I represent my master, Ning Wuming, to negotiate with you, Shiman Zhu said. What do you want to talk about? Yang Dingtian asked. Many things, such as the matter of cooperating with Black Sky Sect's Zhu Qingzhu, Ning Wuming said. Chapter 579. Qin Chichi was dead. She didn't let Yang Dingtian do it, she did it herself. Of course, before she died, she played Yang Dingtian once. She heard Yang Dingtian say that he wouldn't kill her, so she killed herself. Of course, Qin Chichi had the evil spirit energy to protect her soul. So after her body died, her soul could escape at the fastest speed. There was no energy cage here. But after her body died, her soul just floated in the air motionless. Just as Yang Dingtian was about to put her soul into the soul ring, her soul suddenly rushed out of the evil spirit energy circle, and her soul instantly dissipated. That's right, with the evil spirit protection one wouldn't die. But if he wanted to die, then nothing could stop him. Just like that, Yang Dingtian looked at Qin Chichi's soul in front of him. Her soul instantly dissipated, leaving behind a cloud of evil spirit energy in the air. Suddenly, his heart was filled with mixed feelings. He even couldn't understand Qin Chichi. She clearly didn't have to die, and it wasn't as if she had nothing to live for. But why did she choose to die? Perhaps it was to let her daughter completely become Yang Dingtian's daughter, so that they wouldn't have any entanglements. If she was alive, even if she was in the dungeon, her daughter wouldn't completely become Yang Dingtian's daughter. Yang Dingtian reached out and touched the place where Qin Chichi's soul dissipated, as if he wanted to feel Qin Chichi's last soul. He sighed and said, "Everything you do is too intense, so it's not easy for you to be happy." Then, he put the evil spirit energy into the energy jade box. He used the ice coffin to store Qin Chichi's body. An hour later, he and Song Chunhua returned to Cloud Sky City again. During the flight back to Cloud Sky City, after sleeping for 3 hours, the baby was hungry again. She even peed and had diarrhea. So, on the Demon Vulture King, Yang Dingtian and Song Chunhua hurriedly changed the baby's diaper and washed her butt. Then, Song Chunhua used her celestial qi to warm the milk in the bottle and fed it to the baby. Then, the baby seemed to feel that the aura was a little different, as if it wasn't his mother's aura. So he began to cry loudly. No matter how hard Yang Dingtian tried to coax him, he could not be appeased. The baby was very strong, and his cries were very loud. As he cried, he danced with joy. However, she was crying very hard. Her little face was first red, then a little purple. This baby seemed to have the same temperament as Qin Chichi, fierce and fierce. Song Chunhua had no choice. She unbuttoned her clothes with a red face and stuffed it into the baby's mouth. Although there was no water inside, she could still deceive him. The baby was still crying after holding it in his mouth. However, as she sucked and cried, her voice gradually became softer. Although she felt different, it was still better than not having anything to drink. As he sucked, he gradually fell asleep. After the baby fell asleep, Song Chunhua did not pull her tongue out of the baby's mouth. She continued to let the baby suck on her tongue. Then, she gently leaned into Yang Dingtian's arms. Her entire person instantly became gentle, and her entire body released an incomparable feminine charm. "God, when everything is over, I want to have a child too," Song Chunhua said softly. "Okay," Yang Dingtian replied. Song Chunhua grabbed Yang Dingtian's hand and placed it on her face. Then, she lifted her beautiful face and kissed Yang Dingtian's lips. After returning to Cloud Sky City, Yang Dingtian buried Qin Chichi's coffin in the icy cave. There was no tombstone or grave. When he carried the baby and appeared in a remote valley, Mistress, Yin Yan, and the others were teaching the baby to read. They wrote big words on a large piece of silk, and then spread the silk on the soft ground. The baby crawled on it to learn the words. After shouting a word, the baby would quickly crawl over to recognize it. In order to introduce a competitive mechanism, they even let the little squirrel, the little fox, and other small demon beasts join the game. They competed with the baby. Whoever found the word first would have food to eat. In the end, the baby's speed of recognition was not slow, but its crawling speed was not fast enough. Hence, they lost more than they won. They were a little depressed. Yin Yan used a rope to tie up the little squirrel's 4 legs, so that everyone could compete fairly. Hence, the baby won more than she lost, while the little squirrel and the little fox could only jump around with their legs tied up, looking at Yin Yan with resentment. "She's too biased. She's your son and we're pets. Don't pets have human rights? No, the right to be pampered?" When they saw Yang Dingtian carrying a baby in, everyone was stunned. Yang Dingtian handed the baby to Qin Jiaojiao and said, "Jiaojiao, this will be our daughter from now on. You have to take good care of her, understand?" Jiaojiao pouted and said with grievance, "Which wild woman's child is this?" She was an idiot, so Yang Dingtian did not argue with her. He carried the baby and pointed at her. "Baby, this is your little sister, understand? Little sister, don't." The baby instinctively felt threatened and quickly waved her small hands. Then, she reached out to push the baby. Yang Dingtian's face turned stiff and was about to scold her. Grandma. The baby immediately wailed and reached out to the master's wife. She said that she was crying, but there was not even a drop of tear. The master's wife did not know whether to laugh or cry. She quickly carried the baby over and coaxed her while teaching her. At this moment, the little squirrel quickly jumped to the word and ate the pine nuts on it. Then he looked at the baby and smiled proudly. Bad rat, bad little sister, baby doesn't want. This time the baby really cried. Daddy, daddy, where's little sister? Where's little sister? At this moment, there was a commotion outside, and the door was pushed open. Little Ningning rushed in and hung around his neck like a koala. Little Ningning was already 7 years old and could not play all day long. She had to study and learn swordsmanship. She hugged young Dingtian and complained that her mother had abused her, and the master had also abused her. Then she said to Yin Yin, Auntie Yin Yin, I don't want my mother anymore. Can you be my mother? It was unknown when little Ningning started calling young Dingtian daddy. It was definitely instigated by Qin Mengli. Of course, she still called Qin Huayu daddy. But Qin Huayu was very strict, and she was not close to him. Yang Dingtian didn't bother about her, and allowed her to blabber as she wished while hugging her. But she quickly slid down from Yang Dingtian and said, Daddy, the little sister is so small. Let me carry her. Then, she took the baby from Qin Jiaojiao. Daddy, is she like little Ningning and not your biological daughter? The little girl asked. When she said that, even Yang Dingtian was shocked. This little girl was only 7 years old. How could she be so scheming? Instantly, Yin Yin rolled her eyes at Qin Jiaojiao. You idiot! You're not even as smart as a 7-year-old girl. At this moment, Qin Jiaojiao could tell that although the baby was still very small, she looked very similar to Qin Qiqi. What about her? Qin Jiaojiao asked. Although they didn't like each other, Qin Qiqi was still her sister in name. She chose to leave, Yang Dingtian said. Instantly, Qin Jiaojiao's beautiful eyes dimmed. She was domineering and fierce, but her heart was very soft. When she heard the news of Qin Qiqi's death, she was extremely sad. Then, she took the baby from little Ningning with red eyes and said gently, Nan Nan, you're my biological daughter from now on. Ningning, go to school. At this moment, Ningro rushed in and her voice was the harshest. Little Ningning was extremely naughty. Now every time she went to school or practiced her sword, Ningro had to guard outside. Otherwise, she would immediately run out to play. In Cloud Sky Castle, little Ningning was already a little king, and the only leader of all the children under the age of 10. Also, she planned to expand her power to Cloud Sky City outside the castle. She was always jumping up and down, and had even developed into group fights. Of course, she didn't fight herself and ordered others to do it. Ningro could tell that this daughter was completely like Qin Huayu, and had nothing to do with her own gentleness. Previously, when she was alone with her, she couldn't tell. Later on, when she went to Qin City and was suppressed, she couldn't tell. Ningro thought that her daughter was smart and obedient. Now that she was in Cloud Sky City, the little girl was doted on by almost everyone, so her mischievousness was completely released. Ningro couldn't control her at all, and cried a few times. Previously, every time she cried, the little girl would immediately get scared and come over to comfort her mother. Now that Ningro cried, the little girl said straightforwardly, What's the use of crying in front of me? You should cry in Daddy's arms. The gentle Ningro couldn't hold it in anymore, and hit her little butt. After hitting her, the little girl patted her butt and said, No, Mommy, you're too soft-hearted. Instantly, Ningro almost fainted from anger. Ah, Xiao on your back. When Ningro saw Yang Dingtian, her face turned red and she was extremely embarrassed. The source of her embarrassment was Duan Ruyan. After Duan Ruyan was rescued, she came to see Ningro twice. The first time she said straightforwardly, Ro, what do you have to fight for yourself? Hurry up and let Yang Dingtian marry you. The second time, she asked if she had done anything with Yang Dingtian. With such a carefree and unrestrained master, how could Ningro not be embarrassed? Daddy, you have to care more about my mommy. Otherwise, if she stares at me all day, my days will be very difficult. Ningning jumped on Yang Dingtian's neck and said. Yang Dingtian immediately pinched her little face and said, "Little girl, who did you learn these words from?" Yang Dingtian was too busy, so he didn't interact much with little Ningning in the past half a year. He didn't expect the little girl to be so mischievous. It's all because of that bad woman Qin Mengli. She taught little Ningning bad things. Ning Roer said angrily, "Mommy, don't say bad things about Mengli's mother." Little Ningning said, "She has been helping you. You can't be so heartless." Look. Ning Roer said bitterly. Yang Dingtian carried little Ningning out and went to Ning Roer's room. "Little Tian, little Ningning can't go on like this. She must be disciplined. Otherwise she will be even more lawless. Not only does she play truant every day, but she also brings the other children to play truant with her. She even gets people to fight. She practices swordsmanship every day as if she wants to kill him." Ning Roer said. Hearing her mother complaining, little Ningning didn't care. Instead she listened and laughed. "Sister Roer, what kind of person do you want Ningning to become?" Yang Dingtian asked. "I don't know either, but girls have to be gentle and virtuous." Roer said. "I think little Ningning is pretty good like this." Yang Dingtian said. "Every child is different, so every child has to be taught according to their aptitude. Ningning is different from you. You are gentle like water. Ningning is like Qin Huayu. However, she is not as vicious as Qin Huayu. She still has your kindness. So don't worry. She will be very outstanding in the future. She will be more outstanding than you and Yin Yan." When Ningning heard Yang Dingtian praise her, her eyes immediately lit up. "It seems that Daddy is indeed different. He can tell how amazing I am at a glance." "Lass, why don't you go to school?" Yang Dingtian asked. "The things that old man taught me are too old-fashioned," little Ningning said. "Besides, I already know a lot of things, but I still have to learn there every day. I'm like a fool." "Then why don't you learn swordsmanship?" Yang Dingtian asked. The little girl pursed her lips and did not say a word. Just as Yang Dingtian said, little Ningning was very smart, but she was also very upright and kind. Even if it was such a small problem, she would rather not say it than lie. I want to learn from Daddy, but I know Daddy is very busy." Ningning said sweetly. "Daddy, I don't want to learn Sky Phoenix Pavilion's martial arts. I don't want to be like Grand Master, nor do I want to be like Mother. I don't want to go to Sky Phoenix Pavilion when I grow up." Yang Dingtian rubbed her little head and said to Ning Roer, "Did you hear that? Sister Roer, this girl is very clear in her heart. Don't just discipline her. You have to figure out what she's thinking. I don't have much knowledge anyway, so I can't discipline her well." Roer turned her face away. She had always been as gentle as water, so this was the first time she had said such angry words. "Daddy, you guys chat. I'll go see little sister," Roer said softly. Then, she slid down from Yang Dingtian's arms and ran away. Yang Dingtian was really impressed. This little girl was too smart. She was even smarter than her mother at such a young age. Yang Dingtian went forward and said gently, "Sister Roer, I'm sorry. I've made you suffer." Ning Roer's tears fell as she said, "I know. I shouldn't ask for too much. But I didn't ask for too much. Qin Huayu has already obtained his happiness." Ning Roer was already very brave to say this. It was unknown how much courage Duan Ruyan had given her. "After this matter is settled, we will have a simple ceremony to marry you and Mu Liani," Yang Dingtian said gently. "And," Ning Roer said gently, "if it was an ordinary woman, she would definitely feel as though she was being bestowed with a gift, and would feel that her pride was hurt. However, Ning Roer wouldn't think like that. She was gentle, and just like what she said, she didn't ask for much. In this world, there were independent and intelligent women like Dongfang Bingling and Dugufengwu. There were also women like Ning Roer, who were gentle like water, and needed to find someone to rely on. Sect Patriarch, Ning Wuming requests for an audience. Jiao Liao came to report. "Is it Shimanju or Ning Wuming himself?" Yang Dingtian asked. "It's Ning Wuming himself," Jiao Liao said. "He is at the mountain peak 300 miles outside the city, waiting for you." Yang Dingtian met Ning Wuming again. At this moment he was no longer full of smiles. It was as though he was 10 years older than half a year ago. His face was full of stubble, and his entire body was filled with vicissitudes of life. Ning Wuming greets sect patriarch Yang. Ning Wuming stepped forward and bowed. Greetings to young Lord Ning. Yang Dingtian. Then, the two of them fell into silence. Emoji is pregnant. I know. Ning Wuming suddenly said. Yang Dingtian. Sect patriarch Yang. In your heart, do I value the Ning clan more or evil ways more? Ning Wuming asked. Evil ways. Yang Dingtian said. Because evil ways can give you everything, but can also make you lose everything. Evil ways are actions and the Ning clan is the goal. Ning Wuming said. Everything I do is for the Ning clan. Including killing Ningyu? Yang Dingtian asked. Yes, including killing him. Ning Wuming said. Since he's already living a life worse than death, he might as well die. If he doesn't die, Emoji won't really follow me. Even if he dies, Wumaji won't really follow you. Yang Dingtian said. That's also because of you. Otherwise, in 10 or 20 years, she would have followed me one day. Ning Wuming said sternly. Ning Wuming gradually calmed down and said. You always thought that Ningyu's kindness to me was as heavy as a mountain, right? When I was still the illegitimate child of the Ning clan, no one treated me as a human. Everyone treated me as a servant, including Ningyu. It was Wumaji who treated me as a human, as a younger brother. I met her when I was 12 years old. She was so proud and arrogant that Ningyu didn't even dare to raise his head in front of her. She was a princess in the Snow clan. And she was still a princess in the Ning clan. Although she hadn't married into the clan, no one dared to provoke her. Only I, because of my extreme love and inferiority, went against her, and was even prepared to hurt her just to get her attention. Then, when I was about to be beaten to death, she saved me and told me that I was stronger than your brother. It was this sentence that supported all my courage. I was stronger than Ning Jing. I wanted to show that I was stronger than Ningyu. Ning Wuming said. Ningyu wasn't worthy of Emoji, and neither was I. But I wanted to do everything I could to make myself worthy of her. It was you who ruined everything. Yang Dingtian really didn't know that there were so many things between Ning Wuming and Wu Maji. Did you come to find me just to interrogate me? Yang Dingtian asked. Of course not. Ning Wuming said. I came to find you to ask you to return Emoji to me. The child in her stomach is yours, but I don't care. I will treat it as my own son, and make it the new master of the Ning clan. If you don't trust me, I can sterilize it now. If Emoji isn't willing to follow me, it's fine. Let her return to the Ning clan. In 10 or 20 years, she will follow me one day. I don't care about anything in the central state. I will return to the Ning clan, and until the Demon King Wentian revives, I won't care about anything. Ning Wuming said. For this goal, I can help you eliminate Zhu Qingzhu. But don't provoke the Ning clan. And don't provoke Wumaji. Then, Ning Wuming stared at Yang Dingtian and said, When I say eliminate, I mean kill Zhu Qingzhu. Chapter 580. Yang Dingtian. What else do you want? I just want to protect the Ning clan. I treat your son like my own. He's the future master of the Ning clan. What else do you want? Ning Wuming said sternly. Yang Dingtian remained silent. Then what do you want me to do? Refuse to cooperate with the Snow clan. And don't give them the treasure of the Demon City's merchant palace, Ning Wuming said. Yang Dingtian said. But 2 days ago, when Shiman Ju came on your behalf, he proposed a deal. He wanted me to give you the treasure of the Demon City's merchant palace. That was just a test. I just wanted you to know the value of the treasure. Don't cooperate with the Snow clan, Ning Wuming said. Your ears are very sharp. When the Snow clan came to find me, you already knew, Yang Dingtian said. The Snow clan and the Ning clan have been in contact for almost 1,000 years. How could we not be familiar with each other? Ning Wuming said. It's because of your existence that the Snow clan has an ambition they shouldn't have. They're trying to take over the entire southernmost land. If the Snow clan didn't come to cooperate with me, would you have come to me? Yang Dingtian suddenly asked. Green Lord Zhu wanted to get rid of the donkey after it had outlived its usefulness. So I had the urge to come to you. But in the end, I still didn't want to cooperate with you, Ning Wuming said. Even if Green Lord Zhu wanted to get rid of the donkey after it had outlived its usefulness, he didn't have the strength to do so. I would have continued to cooperate with Green Lord Zhu to eliminate you. Then I would have followed him and the Pleasure Palace to divide the western region. Ning Wuming sighed. I didn't expect the Snow Clan to appear. I know the experts of the Snow Clan very well. If they fully support you, then you and Green Lord Zhu's power will be on par. No one will be able to eliminate the other. If the two of you are fine, then I'm not. I'm not afraid of Green Lord Zhu, but I'm afraid of you. He can't kill me, but you and the Snow Clan can. Originally, you had nothing to do with the Snow Clan. But Moji is pregnant with your child. So I thought about it, but there's nothing I can do. I can only cut off the possibility of you cooperating with the Snow Clan and work with you myself. Ning Wuming said. Whether the Snow Clan saves you or I saves you, it's all the same. Yang Dingtian fell silent for a moment before he said, Do you know what the Demon City's Merchant Palace's treasure is? Roughly. Ning Wuming said. What? Yang Dingtian asked. It should be considered a key. Ning Wuming said. The key to opening an endless treasury. After entering this treasury, you might be able to become the #1 person in the world. Since it's so precious, why didn't anyone fight for it at the auction? Why did I get it so easily? Yang Dingtian asked. Because no one knew what it was at that time? Ning Wuming said. Then why do you know now? Yang Dingtian asked. Because a very important person wants this item. Ning Wuming said. I'm sorry, that's all I can say. If you want to know more, I'll tell you after we complete the transaction. Yang Dingtian continued to be silent. Ning Wuming said. Yang Dingtian, the terms I proposed are already very good. As long as you refuse to cooperate with the Snow Clan, I'll help you defeat Zhu Qingzhu. Then, you'll send Wu Maji to me. I'll treat the child in her womb as my own, and make him the successor of the Ning clan. After that, your Council of Light and my Ning clan will mind our own business. I won't interfere in the affairs of the world. What if I refuse? Yang Dingtian said. Then I'll help Zhu Qingzhu beat you with all my strength. Ning Wuming said. But I have the help of the Snow Clan's experts. I'm not at a disadvantage anymore. You can't do anything to me. Yang Dingtian said. That's right. When the time comes, you'll have 5 martial grandmasters. We won't be able to kill you. Zhu Qingzhu can only retreat. Ning Wuming said. Next, you'll join forces with the Snow Clan to attack my Ning clan. So in order to save my life, I can only rely on others. For example, Wu Yuming. I'm sure you don't want to see that happen. Yang Dingtian, this is a very good deal. Ning Wuming said indifferently. I'll help you kill Zhu Qingzhu, and we'll mind our own business. Wu Maji will belong to me, and your son will become the future leader of the Ning clan. Then Ning Wuming took out a box and said, There's a pill called Fierce Flame Pill inside. Put it on the coffins of the Snow Clan's experts, and it will cause great damage to them. When I arrived at the battlefield, I smelled the scent of the Snow Clan's experts, and knew it was your signal. Whether you agree or not, I'll give you the Fierce Flame Pill. Yang Dingtian took the box and put it in his bosom. I hope we'll have a pleasant cooperation, Ning Wuming said and then quickly left. Yang Dingtian went to have a meal with Mistress and the others. Then, he used his fastest speed to return to the Cloud Sky Pavilion. 3 days later, the Snow Clan's experts arrived. 3 women escorted 12 ice coffins and flew to the Cloud Sky Pavilion. Among the 12 coffins, there were 3 venerable masters and 9 venerable masters. The Snow Clan's woman Brook Moni said to Yang Dingtian, I've brought the Snow Clan's experts. Sect Master Yang, did you get the Phantom Spirit Demon Matriarch? Yes, I did, Yang Dingtian said. It's just a 10,000-year-old ancient frigid ice jellyfish. It only has 2 instincts. One is to constantly absorb the ice energy, and the other is to constantly release it. The Snow Clan's woman was overjoyed. Sect Master Yang is indeed powerful. No one in the world can catch the Phantom Spirit Demon Matriarch, and you actually got it. So have you decided to make the deal? Not yet, Yang Dingtian said. Why? The Snow Clan's woman said, The Demon City's Merchant Palace's treasure is useless to you. Because I don't know what kind of treasure it is. If it's too valuable, I'll be a fool. Yang Dingtian said. You're too greedy, City Lord Yang. The Snow Clan's woman said. What could be more important than your life? If you can't even keep your life, what's the point of this treasure, even if it's priceless? It's not the time to make the deal anyway. I still have time to think, don't I? Yang Dingtian said. Indeed. Your performance reminds me of the saying, you won't cry until you see the coffin. The Snow Woman said. I have to warn you, you only have 2 grandmasters on your side. As for Zhu Qingzhu, he had a total of 6 martial grandmasters. Without our help, you'll die without a doubt. If there's a need, I'll definitely ask for your help. Yang Dingtian said. The Snow Clan's woman's expression was full of displeasure. Then, the 3 Snow Clan's women escorted the 12 coffins into the deepest dungeon of the castle. They didn't sleep or rest, guarding the 12 coffins. The Council of Light's upper echelons were all in a secret room. Yang Dingtian repeated the details of Ning Wuming's negotiation, then asked, Everyone, do you think Ning Wuming's words are true? I don't trust him. He's extremely cunning. Song Chunhua said. His every action and every word is a trap. Qin Wancho said. I've never seen such a cunning person in my life. We have to be careful. Tang Buozhao said. According to the relevant information, Zhu Qingzhu had reached an agreement with the Vulture Palace. When Zhu Qingzhu was trying to obtain the Sky Cloud Pavilion, an earth-splitting city, the Vulture sect interfered and almost caused him to fail. Perhaps the agreement between Zhu Qingzhu and the Vulture sect has something to do with the Ning clan of the South Sea. Qin Huayu suddenly said, Sect Master, I'd like to ask, are Ning Wuming's feelings for Wu Maji real? Yang Dingtian recalled for a moment, then nodded and said, It should be real. Qin Huayu said, If a person's love is real, then his ambition will also be vicious. Basically, one leg will be tied up. So even if he's evil, it's very difficult for him to be completely evil. Qin Huayu was judging others by their own standards. He was also a ruthless person, and he was completely unscrupulous in the past. Later on, because of Ning Ro and little Ningning, a flaw appeared in his heart, and he gradually became weak. Then, after a long period of contact with Yang Dingtian, in addition to being suppressed by Qin Chichi and Qin Wancho, he almost fell into a desperate situation, and even committed suicide. Since then, Qin Huayu had completely changed. It was as if a person who died once would undergo a transformation. He felt that if a person truly loved, then there would be flaws and weaknesses in their character, and it would be very difficult for them to be extremely evil. Therefore, Qin Huayu chose to trust Ning Wuming a little. Moreover, Qin Chichi had also said that Ning Wuming had said so much to him, such as forcing him to kill Qin Chichi, because he wanted to save Qin Chichi's life. In the end, regarding the contents of Ning Wuming's negotiation, it was impossible to determine whether it was true or not. If we really want to keep Zhu Qingzhu and Ning Wuming, do we have to cooperate with the Snow Clan? Zhu Hongxue suddenly asked. Yang Dingtian nodded, and so did Qin Wancho. Now, Yang Dingtian's side had a total of 6 martial grandmasters. Zhu Qingzhu also had 6, so it would only be a situation where both sides would suffer. It was impossible to keep Zhu Qingzhu. However, if the Snow Clan's 3 martial grandmasters and 9 martial grandmasters were added, it was completely possible. If the contents of Ning Wuming's negotiation were true, then if they chose to cooperate with the Snow Clan, the number of martial grandmasters on both sides would be 9 to 6. Yang Dingtian had 9, and Zhu Qingzhu had 6. At this time, it was possible to keep Zhu Qingzhu, but it was very difficult. There was only a 20 to 30% chance of success. If they chose to cooperate with Ning Wuming had said that they could use the temple token to force Joyous Palace to change their attitude. Moreover, he had hidden an expert in the Black Heaven sect. In this way, Zhu Qingzhu would only have 3 martial grandmasters left, but he would have to face the pincer attack of Yang Dingtian's 6 martial grandmasters, and the 3 martial grandmasters from the evil ways. The ratio of power was now 9 to 3. With a ratio of 9 to 3, the probability of taking down Zhu Qingzhu was at least 80 to 90%. In this way, the benefits of cooperating with Ning Wuming were much greater. They would not have to lose the trump card of the Demon City's merchant palace, and the probability of eliminating Zhu Qingzhu was much higher. However, the key was whether to believe Ning Wuming's words. His deal seemed very tempting. Yang Dingtian would not have to pay anything, and Ning Wuming would help him eliminate Zhu Qingzhu. Then, before the Demon King was resurrected, he would never step foot on the mainland. Moreover, the child in Wu Maji's stomach would become the new Ning clan master in the future. It seemed like the terms of this deal were extremely generous. However, if Yang Dingtian chose to cooperate with the Snow clan, even if they could not eliminate Zhu Qingzhu, defeating him would not be a problem. After that, Yang Dingtian would cooperate with the Snow clan to eliminate the Ning clan. When that time came, the entire Ning clan would be destroyed. If Ning Wuming wanted to escape, he would have to rely on Wu Yuming as a servant. However, this would be extremely painful for Ning Wuming. Moreover, it might not be possible because he was already Li Ming's lackey. Even if he wanted to rely on someone else as a lackey, they might not be willing to accept him. Even if they did, Li Ming might not let him off in the future. Sect Master, Zhu Qingzhu has secretly left the Black Heaven sect. He should be fully prepared. Qin Wancho said. If nothing goes wrong, he will mobilize all his top experts to eliminate the Council of Light by tomorrow night at the latest. Yang Dingtian nodded. Qin Wancho said. No matter what decision or choice you make, you must make it. However, no matter what choice you make, we will support you. Yang Dingtian nodded. Then I'll go have a good sleep and prepare for tomorrow's big battle. Qin Wancho patted Yang Dingtian's shoulder and left. Now Yang Dingtian had three choices. The first choice was to not hand over the trump card and not cooperate with the Snow clan. However, if he did not cooperate with Ning Wuming, both he and Zhu Qingzhu would suffer losses. Neither side could do anything to the other, but both sides would suffer losses. Perhaps many of the grandmasters would die. The second choice was to cooperate with the Snow clan. Then he would definitely win this battle, but the probability of killing Zhu Qingzhu was about 20 to 30%. The consequence would be to hand over the trump card. The third choice was to cooperate with Ning Wuming. Then, not only would he win this battle, but he would also be able to eliminate Zhu Qingzhu. Moreover, he would not have to hand over the trump card. However, his only concern was whether he could trust Ning Wuming or not. The first choice did not require him to hand over the trump card, but the casualties would be the greatest. The second choice required him to hand over the trump card, but the casualties would be small, and the battle results would be small. But it was the safest choice. The third choice had the greatest benefits, but the risk was also the greatest. These three choices, no matter which one it was, were all a gamble. Late at night, Yang Dingtian came to the depths of the cave. The three Snow clan women did not sleep or rest, guarding the 12 ice coffins. What? Sect Master Yang, have you made up your mind? The Snow clan woman said. As long as you hand over the trump card, the 12 of us will guarantee your safety and even victory. Can you open the ice coffins? I want to see the people inside. Yang Dingtian said. No. The Snow clan woman said. After you agree and release the phantom spirit demon mother, the 12 of us will fight with you. The 12 masters of the Snow clan will immediately come out and fight for you. Otherwise, they must stay in the coffins. If they open the ice coffins, their cultivation will be damaged. Just for a moment, there will be damage? Yang Dingtian sneered. Yes, there will be some damage. The Snow clan woman said. What if I must see it? Yang Dingtian said. The Snow clan woman fell into a fierce struggle, then nodded. Okay, only one coffin can be opened. I want to see the person with the highest cultivation. Yang Dingtian said. The Snow clan woman frowned. Sect Master Yang. The person with the highest cultivation is also the one with the most noble status. Don't go too far. What if I must? Yang Dingtian said. The Snow clan woman gritted her teeth, then nodded. Sect Master Yang, you really disappoint me. Then she came to the middle coffin. Suddenly, the three Snow clan women guarded the coffin in the middle. Whoosh! The Snow clan woman suddenly opened the coffin. Instantly a bone-piercing cold aura rushed out. Almost in an instant, the entire floor of the dungeon was covered with frost, and the temperature dropped to below zero. The person in the coffin had a ruddy face, without the slightest feeling of being frozen. The face was somewhat familiar. The person in the coffin was middle-aged, wearing an incomparably luxurious brocade robe, and holding an ice jade sword. His face was extremely handsome and dignified, somewhat similar to Wu Maji. Could it be that the person in the coffin was Wu Maji's father? The Snow Clan king. If that was the case, then the Snow Clan had really sent out all their forces. Even the king of the Snow Clan had come, which showed how determined he was to get this treasure. Sect Master Yang, do you see our sincerity? The Snow Clan woman quickly closed the coffin, then said coldly. Yang Dingtian nodded and said, "Many thanks for your noble's deep friendship. I have one last question." The Snow Clan woman said angrily, "Sect Master Yang, don't go too far. Don't think that we have to beg you." Yang Dingtian asked, "I would like to ask, what exactly is this Demon City's Merchant Palace's treasure that you want to obtain from me? Don't be too detailed, just tell me a little, okay?" The Snow Clan woman immediately shut her mouth, not saying a word, and glared coldly at Yang Dingtian. Meanwhile, Yang Dingtian stood straight in front of her and stared at her. After a long while the Snow Clan woman said, "That thing is only a key to open something. Alright, that's all I can say." With that, the Snow Clan woman Brook Moni sat on the ground, closed her eyes, and adjusted her breath, no longer paying any attention to Yang Dingtian. "Then see you tomorrow, goodbye," Yang Dingtian said. The next day came. Today, Zhu Qingzhu's 6 grandmasters and dozens of grandmasters would definitely attack. In fact, they were already here. The Demon Eagle Legion had detected them at the first moment. They came from the Joyous Palace in the north. Hundreds of black figures riding demon spirit rays flew toward the Cloud Sky Pavilion. All of them were wearing the black cloak of the Joyous Palace. Because they were attacking in the name of evil ways, Zhu Qingzhu and the others had to dress up like the Joyous Palace. Yesterday, Zhu Qingzhu and a few hundred experts set off from the Joyous Palace. Now they were 18,000 li away from the Cloud Sky Pavilion. When the sun rose today, they discovered Zhu Qingzhu's group of experts in the Bedlam Sea. Currently, they were 9,000 li away from the Cloud Sky Pavilion. When night fell, Zhu Qingzhu's 6 grandmasters, dozens of grandmasters, and hundreds of grandmasters would arrive at the Cloud Sky Pavilion. Although there were only a few hundred of them, they could destroy the heaven and earth. This was the biggest battle. Night fell. Zhu Qingzhu's group of experts and hundreds of black figures appeared in the sky above the Cloud Sky Pavilion. The final battle had finally arrived. Chapter 581. In this battle, Yang Dingtian had 3 choices. The first choice was not to work with Ning Wuming or the Snow Tribe. In the end, both sides would suffer heavy losses. The second choice was to work with the Snow Tribe and defeat Zhu Qingzhu. However, he would not be able to kill Zhu Qingzhu. Moreover, he would have to hand over his trump card. The third choice was to work with Ning Wuming and kill Zhu Qingzhu. He would not have to hand over his trump card. However, he would have to believe Ning Wuming. This was an extremely huge risk. Therefore, these 3 choices were all gambles. The greater the risk, the greater the reward. The smaller the risk, the smaller the reward. Only Zhu Qingzhu led 6 martial grandmasters and 45 other martial grandmasters to enter the Cloud Sky Plateau. The remaining few hundred martial honorable experts were all floating in the sky above the Cloud Sky Plateau. They were blocking the southern exit. Zhu Qingzhu led over 50 people and gave up on their flying mounts. They flew directly towards the Cloud Sky Pavilion's Valley Castle. After flying for 2,000 miles, they arrived at the Black Castle in the valley. Zhu Qingzhu led over 50 top experts and surrounded the castle in the sky. Yang Dingtian, your end is here. Suddenly, a thunderous roar resounded in the sky. It was the Joyous Palace Master. His body was thin, but his figure was like a thunderous roar. The 50 experts were all wearing the Evil Way's black cloak. However, some of the cloaks were embroidered with gold edges, while others were embroidered with red edges and silver edges. Yang Dingtian, Why don't you come out? Zhu Qingzhu's voice resounded in the sky. Although he had changed his voice slightly, it did not change it completely. It only made his voice more vigorous and dark. Whoosh 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 whoosh. Dozens of figures flew out from the Cloud Sky Pavilion's castle. They were like meteors shooting into the sky. Everyone on Yang Dingtian's side was covered in white cloaks. Similarly, there were close to 50 people. In the entire West Continent, there were close to 30 martial grandmasters, including battle puppet demon Yi Wuqing. In addition to the Cloud Sky Pavilion and Earth-Splitting City, there were more than 40 people, including the martial grandmasters. There were close to 50 people on Yang Dingtian's side. All of them were martial grandmasters and above. Among them, there were 6 martial grandmasters, close to the great grandmaster level, a total of 4 people. However, other than Yang Dingtian, everyone else was shrouded in a white cloak, not revealing their faces. This was the biggest battle in 200 years. This was the battle at the pinnacle of martial arts in the past 200 years. There had never been a time when so many martial grandmasters and martial grandmasters were involved in a duel. This battle had gathered at least 80% of the world's great grandmasters, and more than 60% of the world's great grandmasters. The Black Cloak Army led by Zhu Qingzhu formed a circle and completely surrounded Yang Dingtian's group. Yang Dingtian slowly took off his white cloak and revealed his true face. He said to Zhu Qingzhu, "Sovereign Zhu, Palace Master Solitude Ning Wuming. We're all acquaintances, so why don't you show your true face?" That thin and small figure directly lifted the black cloak, revealing a thin face. This was the first time Yang Dingtian saw Joyous Palace Master acting all alone. But he didn't seem happy at all. His son was very handsome, but he was very ugly. He was very, very thin like a bamboo pole. His face was long and narrow, filled with a ruthless aura. Ning Wuming floated beside him, looking even more handsome. Today, he had shaved off his beard and returned to his previous handsome self. "Sovereign Zhu, you don't need to hide your head and show your tail, right?" Yang Dingtian said. "Hee, I don't know what you're talking about." Zhu Qingzhu was still shrouded in his black cloak. He said coldly, "I only know that your end has arrived." "That might not be the case." Yang Dingtian laughed. "You only have 2 martial grandmasters, you're dead meat. Zhu Qingzhu doesn't dare to kill you, but I dare to kill you." Joyous Palace Master said sternly, "That might not be the case." Yang Dingtian laughed faintly. "Young Master Ning, don't you think so?" Suddenly, a dozen golden rays of light shot out from the bottom of the castle. Like smoke, they drilled into the sky. Even in the dark night sky, they were resplendent and bright, like the rays of the sun. "Yang Dingtian, you agreed to trade with me?" Ning Wuming laughed. "That's right. Although trading with you is risky, the rewards are also great." Yang Dingtian said. "Yes, the rewards are great." Ning Wuming said. "Not only will you be able to kill Zhu Qingzhu, you won't have to give up any treasures. I'll raise your son like my own, and let him become the Ning clan master. It's really a great reward." "Sir Yang Dingtian, you like to gamble more than I thought." "In this world I'm gambling every time. I'm betting my life in exchange for an incomparably rich result. If I lose my life. If I win, I get everything." Yang Dingtian said. "However, my luck is always good and I win every time. What about this time? Young Master Ning Wuming, did I win?" Zhu Qingzhu was shocked when he heard this. He looked at Ning Wuming and said sternly, "What do you mean?" "Nothing, Sect Leader Zhu. I just made a deal with young Master Ning Wuming." Yang Dingtian said. "We'll work together to kill you, and he'll stay in the Ning clan forever. He won't interfere with any of the mainland's matters. We'll mind our own business." "Ning Wuming, is this true?" Zhu Qingzhu looked at Ning Wuming coldly. Ning Wuming shrugged and said, "If you can do it, I can do it." "You sold me to the Vulture sect. Why can't I sell you to Yang Dingtian?" "Haha." Ning Wuming laughed coldly. "What do you have, Ning Wuming? Even if you work together with Yang Dingtian, how can you kill me? My Black Sky sect and Joyous Palace have a total of 6 martial grandmasters and more than 30 grandmasters. Even if you and Yang Dingtian were to combine, you would only have over 50 masters and 2 great masters." Ning Wuming shook his head and said, "More than that." The joyous palace master will listen to my orders. Dream on, you lackey. Princess Joy was a loner. Without any hesitation, she turned hostile, and her words were filled with disdain. Ning Wuming slowly took out a token. This token was made with a snow-white jade, and the face of a peerless beauty. This face was so lifelike that one could faintly feel the tears on it. This was the Temple of Annihilation's token, the face of a beauty. The Temple of Annihilation's token is here. Do you dare to disobey my orders? Ning Wuming laughed coldly. Geda trembled violently, and revealed an expression of disbelief as he said, How could this command medallion be in your hands? How? I'm asking you, do you dare to disobey my orders? Ning Wuming said. I don't dare. The joyous princess said. Before the token melts, I'll obey your orders. But after the token melts, don't blame me even if I kill you. Then I'll try my best to settle everything before the token melts. Ning Wuming said indifferently. All the experts of the joyous palace turn around. Swish. Immediately, the two martial grandmasters and dozens of grandmasters of the joyous palace turned around and faced Zhu Qingzhu. Swish. Immediately after, the 12 experts of the Ning clan of the South Sea all turned around and faced Zhu Qingzhu. In an instant, the entire situation changed. Previously, Zhu Qingzhu's 50 people were fighting against Yang Dingtian's 50 people. Now, it was Yang Dingtian's 50 people, and the Evil Way's 30 people against Zhu Qingzhu's 20 people. The situation changed from 80 people to 20 people. Zhu Qingzhu, it's not my doomsday, it's yours, Yang Dingtian said coldly. Zhu Qingzhu laughed and said, Yang Dingtian, didn't you claim to be righteous? Why are you colluding with the Evil Ways to destroy the Tiando League? To use a very fashionable phrase, there's no need to talk about righteousness when dealing with these evil ways. Everyone attack together, Yang Dingtian said with a faint smile. Well said. Those who achieve great things will do anything, Ning Wuming said loudly. Then he extended his hand to Yang Dingtian and said, Faction leader Yang Dingtian, happy cooperation. Happy cooperation. Yang Dingtian also extended his hand. In the air, he and Ning Wuming clapped in the air. Pa! The two people's palms collided fiercely in the air, producing a crisp sound. Ning Wuming, let's attack together and kill Zhu Qingzhu. Yang Dingtian shouted loudly. Then, dozens of experts rushed towards Zhu Qingzhu. Yang Dingtian, today, I've finally seen through your true colors. Your ugly side will be exposed to the whole world. Zhu Qingzhu shouted fiercely. In an instant, Yang Dingtian, Ning Wuming, and Joyous Palace. More than 80 people from the three sides rushed toward Zhu Qingzhu's group of 20 people like lightning. Boom! At the same time, a loud sound came from the castle below. Then, the incomparably huge castle seemed to be swallowed by an incomparably powerful force. It was smashed into pieces and completely collapsed into the ground. Then, an endless amount of black smoke suddenly appeared in the air. In an instant, hundreds of figures in the air were completely swallowed up. Then, an incomparably terrifying scene happened. On Yang Dingtian's side, the people wearing white cloaks in the air suddenly fell down one by one. Puff, 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 puff. Like raindrops, the experts on Yang Dingtian's side fell to the ground one by one and fell into the deep darkness. Then, they let out an incomparably mournful cry. Yang Dingtian was completely shocked by this scene. He could not believe what he was seeing. He only saw his comrades falling into the darkness one by one. In the end, everyone was swallowed up by the black smoke, leaving only Yang Dingtian alone. Oh, there were also two white figures floating behind Yang Dingtian. More than 40 experts on Yang Dingtian's side were all swallowed up by the black energy smoke. Swish, swish, swish. Then the experts from Ning Clan Joyous Palace and Black Heaven sect all turned around. 6 great masters and more than 50 great masters surrounded Yang Dingtian. Idiot, you've been fooled. Ning Wuming sneered. There are no Snow Clan experts in those coffins at all. There are 12 living bodies filled with endless black energy. This is the black energy extracted from the celestial Red Sea. It can swallow all martial artists' Xianqi and all experts' energy. For this battle, we've lost tens of thousands of people and extracted the celestial Red Sea's water for 5 days and 5 nights. It's all for the sake of killing you all. Yang Dingtian's face was pale. He trembled and said, Those women are from the Snow clan. Oh, they are from the Snow clan. Ning Wuming said. Our Ning clan and the Snow clan have been dealing with each other for so many years. What's so strange about getting a few Snow clan women? That Brook Moni is just one of my female slaves, idiot. Yang Dingtian's eyes were lifeless. He could not believe what he was seeing. But I clearly saw Wu Maji's father, the Snow clan's king. Do you know what the Snow clan's king looks like? I haven't even seen him, how could you? Ning Wuming sneered. He looks like Emoji, right? I crippled him while he was still alive, and changed his face to look like Emoji. I wanted you to think that this is the Snow clan's king, Emoji's father. Do you really think that the Snow clan's experts will come to help? Dream on. It was all part of my plan. Then why is there a phantom spirit demonic mother? Yang Dingtian asked. The Snow clan's experts do need to stay in the ice coffins and fight in an extremely cold environment. Ning Wuming said. Every lie has to be 90% true and 10% false to deceive people. Don't you understand? If I didn't make everything look so real, would you believe me? Would you be fooled? Look, aren't you fooled by me? Also, these living bodies carrying the black crystals are supposed to stay in the ice coffins. Otherwise, wouldn't they be exposed? The black crystals devour everything. Why are you all fine? Yang Dingtian suddenly asked. Because we have the evil spirit energy in our bodies. Oh, you have it too, so you are fine too. The other one should be Duan Ruyan. She also has the evil spirit energy in her body, but I don't know who the other one is. Ning Wuming sneered. However, there are only 3 of them, and none of them are martial grandmasters. Do you think you still have any hope? Your 4 or 5 martial grandmasters have all been devoured by the black crystals. They are all finished. Yang Dingtian, your end is here. How do you know? Yang Dingtian hissed. How do you know that I have 5 martial grandmasters? You should think that I only have 2 martial grandmasters. Ha ha ha. Ning Wuming laughed. Do you think you can fool us with that little trick of yours? You went to the Yinyang school to ask for help, then pretended to fail, and left with your tail between your legs. You only brought your master's wife back. Then, there was another mysterious person who invited Ning Busi, Cheng Dabii, and Shadowless to the Cloud Sky Pavilion. Then, you made us think that you only have 2 martial grandmasters. Do you think you can fool me and Zhu Qingzhu with such a childish trick? Yang Dingtian's body trembled, as if he had been drained of all his strength. Yang Dingtian, if it weren't for the fact that you have 5 martial grandmasters, do you think we would have put in so much effort to put on such a big show with you? Would we have sacrificed tens of thousands of people to refine so many black crystals? Would we have sacrificed dozens of experts to detonate their sea of qi to release the black crystals? Ning Wuming laughed. It's because you have 5 martial grandmasters that we can't do anything to you. That's why I devised a scheme to kill you. Then, Ning Wuming looked at Zhu Qingzhu and said, Sect Master Zhu, what do you think? You don't necessarily need to rely on force to destroy your enemies. You also need to rely on wisdom. Yang Dingtian, didn't you just say that every step you took was a gamble with your life? You even said that you won every step you took. Ning Wuming pursed his lips. You should be very proud of yourself. In the last battle, you used cannons to defeat me and Qin Chi. Then, you used submarines and ancient giant beasts to defeat Sect Master Zhu. You're so awesome that you've unified the West continent. You must be very proud of yourself, right? Actually, in my heart, in my eyes, you're nothing. You're just an idiot. I just set up a little fairyland. And you just jumped in, you stupid thing. I just need to stretch out a finger, and I can crush you to death. Then, Ning Wuming's face became extremely ferocious. He said coldly, Yang Dingtian, you've sullied my beloved woman. I told you at that time that I'll definitely take revenge. I'll make you beg for death. I don't dare to touch your son. I don't dare to touch your master's wife either. But as for your 2 wives, I will definitely humiliate them to the point where they will beg for death, but not be able to. You made my beloved woman pregnant. That's right, I won't hurt the child. I'll still treat him like my own son. I'll even give the Ning clan to him. But as revenge, I'll make your wives give birth to 10 children for me. Then, I'll make them work like cows, horses, pigs, dogs. Because they're your women's children. They're just the products of my revenge. Stupid young Dingtian. You're really nothing. It's so easy for me to destroy your Council of Light without any effort. Ning Wuming pursed his lips and said, Do you want to live? Young Dingtian had almost lost his ability to react. He stared blankly at Ning Wuming. If you want to live, hand over the treasure you had in the Devil City's merchant palace, and I'll spare your life. All right, at least I won't castrate you. Ning Wuming said. Isn't that fake? You want the treasure from me, isn't that fake? Yang Dingtian said in a daze. Fake and fake, real and fake. When will your brain become smarter? Ning Wuming said. This treasure is real. Then, I'm sorry, I won't make the deal. Yang Dingtian said. Don't worry, you'll make the deal. When I humiliate your wife in front of you and torture her, you'll make the deal. Ning Wuming said indifferently. At this moment, Zhu Qingzhu's eyes revealed a trace of pity. Then, he lifted his black cloak and revealed his true face. Sigh, Yang Dingtian, I'm starting to sympathize with you. Zhu Qingzhu said indifferently. But I still have to say, you're too stupid, too childish. You'll jump into any trap. It's fine if you kill yourself, but you've killed Qin Wanqiu and the others as well. Ning Wuming, let my wife go. Yang Dingtian suddenly said. How? Don't humiliate them? Ning Wuming sneered. Yang Dingtian's face trembled and said. I beg you, let my wife go. Kill yourself, then I'll consider it. But I can't guarantee it. Ning Wuming said. Okay, remember your words. Yang Dingtian suddenly slammed his palm on his lower abdomen. No. Duan Rian roared and rushed forward to stop him. However, Yang Dingtian's palm had already hit his own energy sea. Blood immediately spurted out. His xian veins instantly shattered and blood spurted out. Then his entire body flew out like a straw. As for the puppet battle devil Yi Wuqing behind him, it flew out like a puppet without any reaction. Duan Rian quickly rushed over and hugged Yang Dingtian, desperately injecting her xian qi. Yang Dingtian's mouth was full of blood. He said to Ning Wuming, Ning Wuming, remember your words. What words? Ning Wuming said. I'll kill myself, and you let my wife go. Yang Dingtian said. I only said I'll consider it. Ning Wuming pursed his lips, as if he had fallen into hesitation. Then he said, Okay, I've considered it. The answer is I won't let her go. I'll still torture your wife 1,000 times. Make them give birth to 10 children, and then become pigs or dogs. You'll die a horrible death. Yang Dingtian roared. Then, blood spurted out and he directly fainted. Suddenly, only Duan Rian and a walking corpse were left in Yang Dingtian's battle. Ning Wuming spread out his hands towards Zhu Qingzhu and said, Look, we've won. Yang Dingtian's entire army has been wiped out. It's just that simple. Ha ha ha. Zhu Qingzhu laughed and said, Young Master Ning is indeed amazing. This Zhu is really amazed. I never thought that intelligence and schemes could be so powerful, completely wiping out the insufferably arrogant Council of Light. Then Zhu Qingzhu laughed and said, let's go to Cloud Heaven City and reap the fruits of our victory. Yang Dingtian's wife will be mine, and his mother-in-law will be yours? Ning Wuming laughed. That's right, that's it. Zhu Qingzhu laughed and said, after taking Yang Dingtian's woman, we'll go and reap his territory. It's a territory of 40,000 li, divided equally among 3 families. Sorry, it's divided equally between 2 families, Ning Wuming suddenly said. 2 families? What do you mean? Is young Master Ning really so noble? Zhu Qingzhu's gaze trembled slightly. I've said it before. I can't tell if my words are true or false. Ning Wuming looked at Zhu Qingzhu and said seriously, but what I said just now about killing you is true. Do you think I'll tolerate you selling me to the vulture sect? Zhu Qingzhu's expression changed drastically, and he said sternly, do you think you can kill me? Ning Wuming said, the matter of the token in my hand is also true. Lone Mutant, listen to my orders, kill Zhu Qingzhu. Yes. Lone Mutant was filled with unwillingness as he roared. Instantly, the 2 martial masters and dozens of martial masters from Joyous Palace turned around and faced Zhu Qingzhu. The dozens of martial masters from Ning clan also turned around and faced Zhu Qingzhu. Suddenly, It became a battle between 20 martial masters from evil ways and 20 martial masters from Black Heaven sect. Zhu Qingzhu laughed loudly and said, "You're just 2 martial masters and 20 martial masters. What can you do to me?" Ning Wuming spread out his hands and said, "Sect Master Zhu, I never fight in unprepared battle. I once told Yang Dingtian that I have a martial master spy in Black Heaven sect. Do you think it's true?" Zhu Qingzhu's expression changed drastically, and he looked at the martial masters beside him. "It's false," Ning Wuming said, "because it's not 1, but 2 martial masters. Kill." Instantly, the 2 martial masters behind Zhu Qingzhu appeared. Ning Wuming and his group, as well as the mysterious martial master, were like black shadows as they struck toward Zhu Qingzhu's back like lightning. At the same time, the Ning clan and Joyous Palace's experts all charged toward Zhu Qingzhu. "Zhu Qingzhu, your end is here," Ning Wuming sneered. At the same time, on the dark mountain peak far away, 2 people were playing chess while watching the battle. Sect Master Dongfang, Yang Dingtian has gone astray. Qin Wanqiu suddenly sighed. Chapter 582. Boom! For martial grandmasters and dozens of martial grandmasters gathered all their strength and attacked Zhu Qingzhu. How shocking was this kind of energy? It was close to destroying the heavens and earth. Zhu Qingzhu's body shot up into the sky like a cannonball. He wanted to dodge the attack as fast as he could. However, no matter how fast he was still hit by the powerful force. His tall body shook violently, and blood spurted out. His body froze. Immediately, Ning Wuming and the 4 great masters of evil ways rushed over like lightning and chased after him. At the same time, another great master of the Black Sky sect rushed over to protect Zhu Qingzhu. As for the remaining grandmasters, they were engaged in a chaotic battle. More than 20 masters of the evil ways were fighting against more than 20 masters of the Black Sky sect. In an instant, the entire cloud sky plateau shook and thunder filled the sky. Once the original allies turned against each other, they became even more vicious and wanted to kill each other. On the other hand, Zhu Qingzhu and another great master of the Black Sky sect were fighting against the 4 great masters of the evil ways. Zhu Qingzhu knew from the beginning that the unknown great master beside him was a monitor sent by the Temple of Annihilation. However, Zhu Qingzhu did not expect Yu Ning's identity to be an infiltrator of the evil ways. Evil ways had infiltrated the Black Sky sect the most. Zhu Qingzhu knew this very well. A few years ago, another infiltrator of the evil ways had appeared in the Black Sky sect. However, Yu Ning was his youngest martial uncle. He had always been honest and diligent. He had always been the most loyal person, and had never taken advantage of his seniority. Moreover, his talent was originally not enough for a great master. It was only when Zhu Qingzhu gave him the 3rd great evil spirit energy that he successfully broke through to the great master level. Therefore, he never thought that Yu Ning was an infiltrator of the evil ways. However, his senior brother, Zhuo Qingqi, who was fighting side by side with him, was usually at odds with Zhu Qingzhu. More than 20 years ago, he was Zhu Qingzhu's strong competitor for the position of the Black Sky sect master. On the surface, the person who was most loyal to him wanted to kill him. On the other hand, the person who was at odds with him was going through life and death with him. Zhu Qingzhu sighed inwardly. "Senior brother Zhuo, I know this is not the right time, but I still want to apologize to you." "I'm sorry," Zhu Qingzhu said loudly. "There's no need for that. Even if I don't agree with you, you're still the Black Heaven sect leader," Zhuo Qingqi said coldly. "Haha, then we'll be fellow disciples in hell," Zhu Qingzhu said loudly. "Forget it. I don't want to have anything to do with you anymore," Zhuo Qingqi said coldly. What would happen if 40 to 50 grandmasters fought each other? In the end, it was like an earthquake, but also like a sky full of lightning and thunder. In the air, there were countless loud booms, countless flames, and countless light swords. The dozens of people were like hundreds of streaks of light, crazily shuttling through hundreds of miles of space. Countless sword auras and flames, countless profound skills burst forth in the air. The dark night sky was as bright as day. Looking up, It was as if the end of the world had arrived. It was bizarre. Boom! The terrifying sword radiance stood on the huge rock. Instantly, the huge boulder shattered. Pa! More than 10 master-grade Xian skills fiercely struck the mountain peak. In an instant, the mountain peak, which was dozens of meters tall, was shattered. There was no doubt that the battle between dozens of grandmasters was the most magnificent scene in the past few hundred years. In comparison, the battle between 6 grandmasters was nothing to write home about. Because once they reached the grandmaster level, they would instead use even fewer profound skills and martial spirits. It was completely a battle of pure profound qi. Moreover, even if the two parties were crazily fighting each other, their auras were firmly locked onto Yang Dingtian and Duan Ruyan, not giving them any chance to escape. Zhu Qingzhu did not want to continue fighting. He frantically tried to escape from the battlefield. However, the 4 grandmasters locked onto his surroundings, not giving him any chance to escape. 3 of the 4 grandmasters were fighting Zhu Qingzhu, while Ning's group was fighting Zhu Qingqi. The battle between grandmasters was like a scene in hell. It was filled with chaos and darkness. There were no gorgeous lights, no shocking Xian skills. It was just a saber, a sword, and a palm. Among the 3 grandmasters surrounding Zhu Qingzhu, Guru Iran's cultivation was the highest. He was a 7-star grandmaster, while the rest were mid-level grandmasters. Zhu Qingzhu was ambushed at the beginning. In his panic, he was hit twice in a row. Blood spurted from his mouth, and his body was injured. However, after he calmed down, he managed to stabilize the situation. With a sharp sword in his hand, he fought 3 grandmasters. Although he was at a disadvantage, the more he fought, the more stable he became. After he stabilized, his sword moves became more and more ordinary and plain. However, they became more and more invulnerable. Guru Iran and the other 2 grandmasters of evil ways were more and more helpless against him. Haha, it won't be that easy to kill me with just 3 grandmasters, Zhu Qingzhu sneered. Then, the battle between the 2 parties was completely deadlocked. A few hundred miles away, Dongfang Minmi and Qin Wanshou, who were watching the battle in the dark, were stunned when they saw this scene. They thought that Zhu Qingzhu would definitely die under the siege of 3 grandmasters. Guru Iran was a 7-star grandmaster, and the other 2 were mid-level grandmasters. Who would have thought that after the initial panic, Zhu Qingzhu would become more and more stable in the battle? He was fighting 3 grandmasters alone, and his opponents were completely helpless against him. This Zhu Qingzhu is really strong. No wonder he's the number 1 expert in the Taekwondo League, Qin Wanshou said. Qin Wanshou said, if we didn't have the sect master's strategy and rashly started the battle, even if it was 6 martial grandmasters against 6 martial grandmasters, it would still be hard to say who would win. That's right. There is a world of difference between great grandmasters and great grandmasters, Dongfang Minmi said. It seems like Zhu Qingzhu alone can stop you, me and Uncle Master Ning Busi. According to the original plan, this battle hasn't started yet. Now that the battle has reached a deadlock, what should we do? Qin Wanshou asked. Should we join in? Dongfang Minmi shook his head. If they joined in now, Zhu Qingzhu and the evil ways would quickly stop fighting and join forces against the outside world. Ning Wuming also didn't expect this to happen. 3 grandmasters couldn't even take down Zhu Qingzhu. He had already fallen out with Zhu Qingzhu, and they would never rest until one of them was dead. If he couldn't kill Zhu Qingzhu by the time the token melted, it would be the time of his death. Asan, kill him, Ning Wuming ordered. Yes. The mysterious grandmaster who was shrouded in darkness had such a ridiculous name. He was called Asan. After receiving Ning Wuming's order, Asan's body suddenly expanded rapidly. Then, it started to devour the surrounding darkness. His entire body was quickly shrouded in darkness, and he became an incomparably huge shadow. Boom! Then his entire body, along with the surrounding dark energy, turned into a black shadow and rushed toward Zhu Qingzhu. Wherever this black shadow passed, everything was instantly corroded. Everything within a few thousand meters was instantly corroded and turned into disgusting black ashes. So it's a dead spirit, Zhu Qingzhu sneered. In an instant, Asan turned into endless darkness and rushed in front of Zhu Qingzhu. wanting to pass through his body. Ah! Zhu Qingzhu roared and struck out with his palm. In an instant, a distorted light shadow suddenly separated from his body. It was as if his entire body was separated, and another clone appeared. Zhu Qingzhu's distorted doppelganger suddenly burst out and tore apart a huge energy shield. In an instant, Asan's dead spirit slammed into the energy shield. Ah! In an instant, the dead spirit let out a terrifying scream. Its black cloak was shattered, and its entire body exploded into pieces, turning into countless black smoke that filled the air. Only two eyes were left like two the wisps, floating in all directions. Zhu Qingzhu sneered. Ning Wuming, don't forget that I'm a level 2 evil spirit, one level higher than you. Then he suddenly retracted his hand. The light shadow of the evil spirit suddenly retracted into his body. Everyone who saw this scene was stunned. A level 2 evil spirit could actually fight without a body, and it could completely resist all damage. But then, Zhu Qingzhu was also stunned. That was because the shattered Asan's dead spirit began to reform in the air, and finally, it completely recovered. However, this time, it was not covered by the black cloak, and its terrifying body was completely exposed. Everyone could see the appearance of this undead spirit. Its two ghostly fire-like eyes were the soul of this undead spirit, and its beating heart was the original source of its life. Its lower abdomen was the qi that was wrapped in the energy of a third great evil spirit. Other than that, there was nothing else on its body. It was completely covered in black smoke. This was the evil ways of the dead spirit, and it was even more powerful than the war puppet demon. It retained its intelligence, and it was impossible to kill. An undead spirit that can't be killed. So what? Zhu Qingzhu sneered. Then he suddenly raised his sword. Whoosh! 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 Suddenly, his body began to split into two, and then three. Zhu Qingzhu, when Yang Dingtian, and Duan Rian saw this scene, they were stunned once again. If it were not for this battle, they would not have seen this terrifying scene. Ning Wuming had a great grandmaster undead spirit, an undead spirit that could not be killed. As for Zhu Qingzhu, he could actually create an evil spirit clone. Instantly, the three Zhu Qingzhu, real and fake, fought against the three great grandmasters of the evil ways. Of the three Zhu Qingzhu, only one was real. However, no one could tell the difference. Only when you hit one Zhu Qingzhu, and found that he was completely unharmed, would you know that it was fake. In an instant, the three great grandmasters of the evil ways fell into a disadvantageous position. The Joyous Palace's great elder pierced his sword through Zhu Qingzhu, and found that he was completely unharmed. Another fake. The Joyous Palace's great elder said angrily. Then he pulled out his sword, and turned to deal with the other one. However, he suddenly felt a chill on his back. He saw Zhu Qingzhu's sword piercing his back, directly piercing his heart. Then it shook violently. In an instant, the Joyous Palace's great elder's heart shattered. Then his entire body was completely shattered. After his body shattered, the Joyous Palace's great elder suddenly turned into a mournful soul. Under the protection of the evil spirit clone, he frantically tried to escape. Sorry, I'm the real one. Zhu Qingzhu sneered, and wiped the wound on his left chest. He was actually so ruthless, allowing the other party to pierce through his body without the slightest hindrance, making the other party think that he was a fake. Then with a lightning-fast sword, he instantly killed the other party. Under the siege of the three great grandmasters, not only did Zhu Qingzhu not lose, he even used the evil spirit clone technique to kill one of them. Now he only had two great grandmasters left. The great elder's soul turned into a stream of light and frantically escaped. Want to run? Dream on. Zhu Qingzhu sneered. Then, the evil spirit clone suddenly left his body and chased after the great elder's soul. His clone instantly turned into an inescapable net and caught the escaping soul. After catching the great elder's soul, Zhu Qingzhu's evil spirit clone returned to his body. Undead warrior can't be killed? I don't think so. Ha ha ha. Zhu Qingzhu laughed loudly, and suddenly stuffed the great elder's soul into the undead warrior's body. Suddenly, two souls were stuffed into the undead warrior's body. Instantly, the undead warrior began to lose control. He completely lost control of his body, and his black body began to twist and tear. Two balls of willow. The wisp eyes began to change shape. Then, an incomparably mournful roar came from the sky. Whoosh! Zhu Qingzhu once again created a clone. His main body was fighting the joyous palace master alone. His evil spirit clone left his body, and suddenly appeared in front of the undead warrior, who had lost control. The evil spirit clone suddenly pierced into the willow, the wisp eyes of the undead warrior, and tore it apart. Ah! The undead warrior let out a terrifying howl. Dark energy crazily overflowed, and pierced the huge rocks below, shattering them inch by inch. The trees in the distance instantly withered. Undead warrior, can't you really kill him? Zhu Qingzhu's evil spirit clone laughed loudly. Then, he pierced his hand into the undead warrior's lower abdomen, and grabbed the qi protected by the evil spirit clone, and pulled it out. Undead warrior, can't you really kill him? Zhu Qingzhu's other hand pierced into the undead warrior's chest, and pulled out the demon spirit heart. In an instant, the undead warrior's body was completely distorted. Its qi was grabbed and its heart was pulled out. However, it didn't completely leave its body. There was still a black energy connected to its body, but its entire body was completely distorted. However, it still couldn't be killed. Can't you really kill him? Zhu Qingzhu said malevolently. Then his evil spirit clone suddenly opened its mouth. Suddenly, the most terrifying scene appeared. Zhu Qingzhu's originally handsome and mighty evil spirit clone was now horribly deformed. Its mouth became incomparably huge and swallowed the undead warrior. That's right, it was going to eat him alive. A snake could swallow an animal that was much bigger than itself. As for Zhu Qingzhu's evil spirit avatar, it devoured the undead warrior 1 foot at a time. Just like that, it ate him. After eating him, Zhu Qingzhu's evil spirit clone was completely distorted. Its entire body was surging. Whoosh! The evil spirit clone shrunk back into its main body. Zhu Qingzhu sneered at the joyous palace master and Ning Wuming. Ning Wuming, your end has arrived. Chapter 583. After Zhu Qingzhu finished speaking, whoosh 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 whoosh. In an instant, his entire body was torn into countless clones, and rushed toward the lone man like a tide. In an instant, countless light shadows suddenly penetrated the lone man's body. Pop! The lone man's clothes suddenly burst open, revealing his bony and terrifying body. Then, the skin all over his body shattered inch by inch. The bright red muscles were exposed, and it was incomparably terrifying. After countless Zhu Qingzhu penetrated his body, his hair was pulled out by the roots one by one, and countless flesh and blood were torn apart inch by inch. In an instant, he became a mangled muscle man. Roar! In the end, Zhu Qingzhu let out a ferocious roar at his terrifying body. Suddenly, it was like the roar of an ancient giant beast earth-shattering. The snow mountain in the distance once again collapsed. This roar was like the shock wave of a nuclear bomb. In an instant, the lone man's body was blown away like a straw. Blood splattered everywhere, and the flesh and blood on his body were torn apart inch by inch. You, the lone man, love to roar the most. Today, I will also roar for you to see, Zhu Qingzhu said coldly. The lone man who flew thousands of meters away was now badly mutilated, and it was unknown whether he was dead or alive. Zhu Qingzhu suddenly turned his head and looked at Ning and the others. He sneered. Junior Uncle Ning, I didn't expect that an honest person like you would betray us. Ning and the others were completely frightened by Zhu Qingzhu's supreme pressure. They were originally on par with Zhuo Qingqi, but at this moment, their hearts were in a frenzy, and they were completely at a disadvantage. Zhu Qingzhu slowly moved forward, and Ning and the others followed. When Zhuo Qingqi saw Zhu Qingzhu's terrifying appearance, he immediately frowned and retreated to the side, not hiding the disgust in his eyes. Senior brother, I also don't want to do this. I also don't want the evil spirit to control my body, but I have no choice. If I don't do this, we will all die, Zhu Qingzhu said to Zhuo Qingqi. When Ning and the others saw Zhu Qingzhu coming, they desperately tried to escape. His speed of escape was extremely fast, like a bolt of lightning. Zhu Qingzhu was just like a dragon or a tiger. following them unhurriedly. Zhu Qingzhu's speed seemed very slow, but he completely enveloped Ning Cheng's group. Then, in the blink of an eye, Ning Yi's group discovered that Zhu Qingzhu was standing right in front of them. "Martial Uncle Ning, how does it feel to betray me? Tell me how you feel," Zhu Qingzhu said indifferently. "I am a lurker of evil ways. I have always been loyal to the Temple of Annihilation," Ning Yixing said. "I don't mind betraying you because I have no other choice." "No," Zhu Qingzhu sneered. "Low-level evil ways infiltrators don't have a choice, but those above the Grandmaster level can have their own will. You betrayed me because you thought I was dead for sure." "Zhu Qingzhu, you keep talking about betrayal. Did you not betray the Tiando League yourself? Aren't you a lackey of evil ways?" Ning Yixing sneered. "I'm not," Zhu Qingzhu roared. "Don't treat me like a dog like you. I'm just a collaborator of the Temple of Annihilation. I don't even care about that cripple Li Ming, let alone Ning Wuming." "You, how dare you humiliate the Crown Prince?" Ning Yixing said in a trembling voice. "Bullshit Crown Prince. He's just a dog that's jealous of Yang Dingtian." Zhu Qingzhu smiled and said, "Martial Uncle Ning, since you've always been honest and sincere, I'll give you a chance. I'll let you have one move." Ning Yixing's body trembled. Then, a strange smile appeared on his face. "No need, Zhu Qingzhu. If we die together. You shouldn't talk so much nonsense with me." Then suddenly, boom! Then, Ning Yixing's body suddenly exploded, and his body was instantly smashed to pieces. He had detonated his sea of qi. Suddenly, a blinding light shot out, illuminating the entire night sky as if it were daytime. A Grandmaster detonating his sea of qi was terrifying. It was like a small nuclear bomb. Although it was a few thousand meters above the ground below it was instantly turned into dust. A mountain peak directly below it was flattened. Ning Yixing was decisive. When he saw that he was going to die, he immediately detonated his sea of qi and escaped with his soul. The blinding white light was 100 times brighter than the sun. Within 1,000 meters it could almost blind people. One had to know that the sea of qi was completely condensed from celestial qi. A Grandmaster's sea of qi was condensed over a few decades. It was tens or even hundreds of times stronger than the Grandmaster's own energy. Therefore, even if a Grandmaster detonated his sea of qi, a Grandmaster would not be able to withstand it. Ning Yixing was a Grandmaster. Perhaps only a half-saint could withstand the detonation of his sea of qi. The Grandmasters from the Ning clan and Black Heaven sect all stopped fighting. They stared at the terrifying white light to see if Zhu Qingzhu was dead. Ning Wuming's face was filled with ferocity and excitement. If he knew that Zhu Qingzhu was so powerful, he would not have turned against him. He had already ordered the 3 great Grandmasters to kill Zhu Qingzhu alone. Logically speaking, it should have been a sure thing. Who would have thought that things would turn out like this? If he knew that Zhu Qingzhu was so powerful, he would have obediently stayed under Zhu Qingzhu's pressure. Now it was too late. However, he did not expect that the completely demonized Zhu Qingzhu's brain was not enough. He actually allowed Ning Yixing to stall for time before detonating his sea of qi. No one could withstand the detonation of a Grandmaster's sea of qi, including Zhu Qingzhu. Even if he was a 9-star Grandmaster, Zhu Qingzhu was dead meat. His soul would not die, but his body would. Without the body of a 9-star Grandmaster, Zhu Qingzhu's soul was nothing. In the distance, Qin Wanqiu and Dongfang Minmi also held their breaths as they looked in this direction. The white light gradually faded. Everyone saw the result. A figure with long hair and long robes fluttering in the wind. Amidst the blinding white light, he faced the sky with his hands raised high. It was as if he was enjoying being bathed in this powerful energy light. Zhu Qingzhu was safe and sound. Not to mention death. Even a strand of his hair was not damaged. There seemed to be a layer of terrifying energy that enveloped his entire body. Seeing everyone looking at him, Zhu Qingzhu slowly stretched out his hand and grabbed a light figure. It was Ning Yixing's soul, which was wrapped in an evil spirit. He could not escape in time and was caught alive. He screamed and struggled crazily. "Idiot, you're too stupid." Zhu Qingzhu pursed his lips and then squeezed. "Ah!" Ning Yixing's soul screamed miserably. Then it was squeezed into the size of a peanut. Zhu Qingzhu gently threw it into his mouth and chewed. Ning Yixing's soul was crazily chewed and cut in Zhu Qingzhu's mouth. His screams were even more soul-stirring. It was as if one's soul was going to scatter. Four martial grandmasters had been completely wiped out by Zhu Qingzhu alone. Whether it was Yang Dingtian, Qin Wanqiu, or Dongfang Minmi, they all felt their hair stand on end. Fortunately, they did not directly start a battle. Otherwise, they would not have just lost. They would not even know how they died. 4 grandmasters had been wiped out by Zhu Qingzhu alone. Moreover, the cultivation of these 4 grandmasters was almost higher than Yang Dingtian's side. After chewing, Zhu Qingzhu directly swallowed Ning Yixing's soul. Then he said to Ning Wuming, "It's your turn." Ning Wuming's face trembled slightly. He said, "Sect leader Zhu, I regret it. Is that okay?" "No, I've looked down on you for a long time. Even if you don't fall out with me today, I will." Zhu Qingzhu said, "In my eyes, you've always been worse than a pig or a dog." Ning Wuming's face twisted. He said, "Then I admit that I'm a pig or a dog. I'll beg for mercy. Is that okay?" "No," Zhu Qingzhu said. "If you're Yang Dingtian, I can spare you. But you're a dog. That won't do. This won't do, that won't do. That's really bad." Ning Wuming said miserably. "Then are you ready to die?" Zhu Qingzhu asked. "Death is so scary. Even if I prepare for 10 years, it won't be enough," Ning Wuming said with a pained expression. Then he pointed behind Zhu Qingzhu and said, "Sect leader Zhu, look behind you." "What's behind you?" Zhu Qingzhu turned his head slightly. Ning Wuming fled frantically. His ability to escape was quite impressive. Last time, he had escaped from Dongfang Nimi's hands alive. Zhu Qingzhu ignored him and allowed him to escape. That was because there was indeed an unforeseen event behind him. The lonely man, whose body was badly mutilated and whose muscles and veins were exposed, crawled up again like a malicious spirit. "Zhu Qingzhu, no one in this world can kill me. So, you can't give me doomsday," the terrifying lonely man said slowly. "Oh, is that so?" Zhu Qingzhu said. Then he waved his hand lightly. Bang! Ning Wuming, who had already escaped more than 10 miles away, suddenly realized that the air in front of him had suddenly turned into an incomparably sturdy energy wall. He was suddenly bounced back. In an instant, his head was broken and bleeding. Then, the energy wall suddenly surrounded him and turned into a prison, trapping him inside. Then, Ning Wuming was brought back alive. Divine skill. It was really a divine skill. "We haven't finished talking. Why are you in such a hurry to leave?" Zhu Qingzhu asked Ning Wuming. Ning Wuming said with a pained expression, There's nothing to talk about. I originally wanted to talk to you about your dreams and life," Zhu Qingzhu said. "You said that I sold you to the Vulture sect. That's true. But you thought that I sold myself to the Vulture sect. That's false and slanderous. Who am I, Zhu Qingzhu, to rely on? I'm only one step away from becoming a half-saint. Once I break through, I'll flatten the Vulture sect and pay them back for the humiliation they gave me. Do you know who I hate the most in this world? The first person I hate is the person who gave me the evil spirit. Because I knelt before him, I can't stand up anymore. The second person I hate is the Vulture sect. I've already knelt once, and he wants me to kneel a second time. Yang Dingtian had defeated me before, and had beaten me until I was covered in dirt. This time, the Cloud Sky Pavilion had split the city, and had even schemed against me, causing me to vomit blood from anger. But I don't hate him at all. I think he's very cute. I think this junior is very promising. I want to kill him, because I can't live with him. But I don't hate him at all. In fact, I like him a lot. But people like you are different. You're filthy and disgusting to the extreme. You're worse than pigs and dogs." After saying that, Zhu Qingzhu said to the strange man, "What killing move do you have? Hurry up. Don't dilly-dally. I can't wait any longer." The strange man's bloody face revealed an incomparably complicated and painful expression. Then he said, "Zhu Qingzhu, just like how you don't want to completely turn into a devil and let the evil spirit control you, I don't want to completely transform and let that beast control me. But there's no other way." Ewo! Instantly, the strange man let out an earth-shaking roar. In an instant, the heavens and earth shook. On a mountaintop hundreds of miles away, heavy snow violently collapsed, burying Qin Wanqiu and Dongfang Minmi. Within 1,000 miles, all the animals were so frightened that they pissed their pants. Then, the strange man's body began to swell and crack, and he began to change shape. His entire head swelled by dozens of times, revealing terrifying fangs at the tip of a sword. No one would ever forget this scene. The strange man's appearance of a muscular man was already horrifying and disgusting enough. Now his head instantly swelled by dozens of times, growing long and sharp. 2 fangs suddenly grew, no less than a foot long. 2 bloody horns split out from his head, no less than 3 feet long. His entire head was no less than 4 to 5 meters in size. As for his body, it was still a human body, only 1/10 the size of his head. Therefore, this appearance suddenly became incomparably strange and disgusting. Immediately, his body also began to swell and burst. It swelled by dozens of times, no less than several tens of meters tall. His 2 hands were still 2 hands, but they were like claws. His terrible nails were no less than a foot long. His 2 feet had completely become claws. His legs were more than a meter long with a pair of eyes. They swayed and were dripping with blood. Then 2 bloody flesh wings suddenly grew from his back, and finally became a pair of wings that were dozens of meters long. The flesh on his nose was completely shattered, and only the snow-white nasal bone was exposed. 2 eyes burst out of his body. 2 ears were strangely huge. The strange man had become a living devil that looked like the Shura of hell. A ferocious and terrifying monster that was dripping with blood. Even someone as powerful as Zhu Qingzhu was completely stunned by this scene, and his eyes trembled slightly. As for the experts of the Black Sky sect and the Ning clan, they had completely forgotten about the slaughter, and were staring blankly at this horrifying scene. On the other hand, Yang Dingtian's side was completely shocked. They had already imagined this earth-shattering battle to the extreme, but they did not expect this scene to occur. They did not even have any concept of the strange man in front of them that had turned into a monster. Zhu Qingzhu, you don't want to become like that, and I don't want to become like this either, the strange man said in a deep and terrifying voice. You kneeled to me, and I kneeled to someone. You want to be strong, and I want to be strong too. So he gave you a second great evil spirit. But he gave me this. Zhu Qingzhu suppressed the trembling in his heart and asked, what is this? Does the Yiksha know? The strange man said in pain. He put me together with the Yiksha of hell. He wanted to do an experiment on me. He put the Yiksha's heart and demon core in my body, and he even implanted a Yiksha Xian vein into my body. As long as I don't transform, it will hibernate. But I still have to support it. That's why I'm so skinny that I don't look like a human or a ghost. I was a 7-star martial grandmaster more than 10 years ago, and I'm still a 7-star martial grandmaster now. I want to be strong. It's simple. Transform. But I don't want to. Zhu Qingzhu fell silent. That's why I really admire Duga Xiao. At that time he straightforwardly said, no. Solitary mutant said. Green Master Zhu, tell me, where did you kneel at that time? Soul leaving palace. Zhu Qingzhu said. What a coincidence, I was there too, the strange man said. Duga Xiao went there too, but he didn't ask for anything and came out. Of course, he might have asked for something, but it was different from us. I remember that there was another person besides the 3 of us. I saw the footprints of a 4th person, Zhu Qingzhu said. That person went there earlier than us. Yes, the strange man said. All right, we've finished reminiscing about the past. Let's fight. But I promise you, no matter who wins or loses, we'll kill Ning Wuming. Excellent, excellent, Zhu Qingzhu said. Ning Wuming's face suddenly twitched. Puchi puchi. The strange man flapped his wings and flew into the sky like a demon. Suddenly, the entire sky was filled with a bloody rain. Then he stretched out his right hand. Suddenly, an incomparably sharp claw stretched out and condensed into a huge bone sword more than 10 meters long. Ah! The monster was alone, and it suddenly slashed down with its sword. Boom! The shocking thunder, accompanied by a monstrous rain of blood, smashed toward Zhu Qingzhu. Ah! Zhu Qingzhu suddenly roared. He raised the sword in his hand and blocked. Bang! There was a loud sound, The ground more than 10 miles below was suddenly torn apart. A fortress was instantly shattered. The battle between these two top experts had become even more simple and unadorned. It even looked more clumsy. You slash with your sword, I block with my strength. The power of the strange man's sword was as shocking as the sky. It smashed onto Zhu Qingzhu's sword. In an instant, Zhu Qingzhu's body suddenly deformed. Zhu Qingzhu, who was originally 1.9 meters tall, was instantly crushed and deformed. He was less than a meter tall. All the bones in his body were shattered. All the skin on his body burst open. His 5 viscera and 6 bowels were crushed inch by inch, turning into mush. Blood spurted out, and countless broken bones shot out of his body like bullets. The handsome and mighty Zhu Qingzhu instantly turned into a bloody gourd. Anyone who encountered such a situation would have died a long time ago. However, the terrifying evil spirit energy quickly repaired Zhu Qingzhu's entire body. The internal organs that were shattered into mud were intact inch by inch. The shattered bones were restored inch by inch. The cracked skin was restored inch by inch. Ah! The strange man roared, and the giant sword in his hand was still crazily pressed down. Suddenly, Zhu Qingzhu's body, which had just recovered, was instantly destroyed again. The energy wall that trapped Ning Wuming was also instantly shattered. Ning Wuming continued to flee frantically. The strange man suddenly stretched out his hand and slapped. Pa! With a loud noise, Ning Wuming was slapped to the ground from more than 10 miles away. Blood spurted wildly, and it was unknown whether he was alive or dead. The strange man's sword continued to press down. Zhu Qingzhu went from 1 meter to 1.5 feet. His whole body was like a meat patty. Bang! His 2 eyes suddenly popped out of their sockets. Blood spurted wildly all over his body. The speed of recovery was far less than the speed of destruction. Zhu Qingzhu, it seems that the thing that person gave me is still more powerful. The strange man said, sure enough, the uglier the stronger. Chapter 584. Helyaksha. It was a dark creature that lived thousands of miles underground. It could survive under extreme temperature and pressure. Not only was it invulnerable to swords and spears, but it was also invulnerable to ice and fire. Its attack method was very simple and direct. It was pure strength. Hundreds of thousands of kilograms, or even millions of kilograms of strength. It didn't release fire energy or ice energy. It was pure strength that made it invulnerable to swords and spears. Zhu Qingzhu, on the other hand, had a second-grade evil spirit that could resist almost any kind of energy damage. It could even ignore the self-destruction of a grandmaster. However, the lone mutant's Helyaksha was the most direct form of physical suppression. Moreover, it was a Helyaksha that had cultivated for thousands of years. How terrifying was its strength! His second-grade evil spirit couldn't protect his body at all. Zhu Qingzhu, you are very strong. I don't doubt it at all. Apart from a few 200-year-old immortals, you are invincible, the demon said coldly. But don't forget, humans will never be able to compete with demonic beasts. I am no longer a human, but a 1,000-year-old Helyaksha. I'm not something a mere mortal like you can resist. Zhu Qingzhu's body had been pressed down to a height of 1 foot. The evil spirit's energy couldn't restore his body anymore. His entire body was shattering and collapsing. His sea of qi had also begun to shatter. Just like what the Helyaksha had said, the strength of humans couldn't be compared to demon beasts. The difference in strength between humans and demon beasts of the same level was more than 10 times. The Helyaksha had become a 1,000-year-old demon beast. It was an extremely terrifying Helyaksha. It could be said that except for a few 200-year-old ancestors, no one could resist the power of its sword, including Qin Wanqiu and Dongfang Minmi. Anyone who tried to stop it would die, let alone Yang Dingtian. Zhu Qingzhu, on the other hand, was already extremely heaven-defying to be pressed down to a height of 1 foot. This was because the Helyaksha's energy was at least 1,000,000 kilograms. Moreover, Helyaksha lived thousands of miles underground in the extremely dark domain. Not only was it invulnerable to swords and spears, but even ice and fire couldn't harm it. Zhu Qingzhu's sea of qi began to crack. Once the qi sea completely exploded, Zhu Qingzhu's body would be destroyed. After losing the body of a 9-star martial grandmaster, even if his soul was a second-class evil spirit, he would still need to possess another body to be reborn. But in this world, he could no longer find such a powerful body. Of course, some might say that Zhu Qingzhu had an evil spirit doppelganger. Why didn't he use it? At this time, his body was completely protected by the evil spirit. I will miss you, Zhu Qingzhu. Good roared. His bone sword slammed down, wanting to crush Zhu Qingzhu into pieces. Zhu Qingzhu had already been squashed into a bloody meat patty, but he was still laughing. Haha, this battle is really satisfying. Zhu Qingzhu teared up. He really defeated 10 people by himself. Even though I'm close to a demi-saint, and even though I have a second-class evil spirit, I still can't withstand the force of a few million pounds. My evil spirit avatar can't come out. However, no one has seen my martial spirit before. It's time for it to come out for a walk today. Boom! In an instant, a black shadow flew out from Zhu Qingzhu's body. Ha 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 ha. Then, a shrill and terrifying laughter came from the air. It was neither male nor female, neither yin nor yang. This martial soul was a mass of black shadows and black smoke. It could take any shape. However, when it floated, it vaguely had the shape of a human. It wore a pointy hat, and its whole body was withered, twisted, and incomparably long. Seeing this martial spirit, Qin Wanqiu asked in a trembling voice, Sect Master Dongfang, you know what kind of demonic beast this is? I have never seen it before. I haven't even seen it in books, Dongfang Minmi said. Qin Wanqiu's heart suddenly turned cold. If even Dongfang Minmi had never heard of it, it was almost equivalent to no one in this world knowing. However, I can roughly guess what kind of demonic beast it is, Dongfang Minmi said. What? Qin Wanqiu asked. Energy demonic beast, soul-devouring beast, Dongfang Minmi said. No wonder Zhu Qingzhu didn't cultivate a sword soul with his talent. It's because he has an almost heaven-defying soul-devouring beast. Perhaps the soul-devouring Xian Qi he cultivates has a lot to do with the soul-devouring beast. Soul-devouring beast? The lonely man said in a trembling voice. That's right, soul-devouring beast, Zhu Qingzhu said coldly. After I obtained the second great evil spirit, I personally went to the ghost netherworld to catch it. Ha 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 ha. The soul-devouring beast was still laughing wildly, dancing in the air. Wherever it passed, it destroyed, polluted, and tarnished everything. Even the light of the moon and the air were polluted. Ha ha ha. It suddenly passed through a mountain. In an instant, the places it passed through, the snow, the mountain rocks, and the places it passed through were instantly corroded into disgusting black mud. Wherever it passed, all life was cut off, and everything became extremely dirty. Ha ha ha. The soul-devouring beast flew in the air for a few hundred miles, destroying and polluting countless places. Then it flew back to the sky above Zhu Qingzhu. Ha 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 ha. It was another terrifying laugh. Whoosh 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 whoosh. The soul-devouring beast quickly passed through the bodies of the demons and the lonely man. The soul-devouring beast martial spirit had the weakest corrosive power against powerful spiritual energy. However, it had an incomparably shocking corrosive power against pure physical bodies. Almost instantly, a few black holes appeared on the body of the lonely man. Then it began to rot and began to be contaminated. The flesh and blood in the holes turned into disgusting and dirty black mud. Roar! The Helyaksha let out a shocking howl. The ground below was fiercely torn apart, and the hot air hundreds of meters underground soared into the sky. Then, Zhu Qingzhu slowly stood up inch by inch. In the end, he completely returned to his previous appearance, but his body was dripping with blood. Swoosh! Zhu Qingzhu trembled slightly. In an instant, all the blood stains were scattered clean. He had returned to his previous handsome and mighty appearance. With a gentle wave of his hand, the soul-devouring beast martial spirit suddenly drilled into his body. Originally, this soul-devouring beast could have easily killed the lonely man. However, Zhu Qingzhu did not do so. The lonely man lowered his head and looked at the corroded holes in his body. A white light flashed, and these corroded holes began to gradually recover. Don't forget, the lonely man also had the evil spirit energy. However, as the leader of the ancient evil ways, the evil spirit energy that was passed down from generation to generation was also the traditional evil spirit energy. It was different from the evil spirit energy in Zhu Qingzhu and Dongfang Bingling. Whoosh! Zhu Qingzhu suddenly flew into the sky. Brother Gudairan, have your wounds healed? Zhu Qingzhu asked. Almost, the lonely man said. Brother Lonely, you fought me with your strength. Then, I will fight you with my strength. What do you think? Zhu Qingzhu said. Zhu Qingzhu, you are a human after all. You can't compete with a 1,000-year-old Helyaksha in terms of strength, the lonely man said. I advise you to use the soul-devouring beast to kill me. Ha ha ha. Zhu Qingzhu laughed. I can use the soul-devouring beast to escape, but I can't use it to kill you, because if I do that, I will lose. Then, he sheathed his treasured sword and stretched out his bare hands. Suddenly, all the Xian Qi and evil spirit energy gathered in his hands. Zhu Qingzhu's sea of qi in his lower abdomen began to shine brightly. Then, the sea of qi in his lower abdomen began to move. It turned into 2 rays of golden light, and slowly moved to his 2 arms. Then his 2 arms began to change. They slowly turned white and then gold. In the end, Zhu Qingzhu's hands turned into hands made of gold. What is this? The lonely man asked in a trembling voice. Sea of qi transference. Zhu Qingzhu sneered. Everyone says that the strength of a human is incomparable to that of a beast. I don't believe it. I believe that a human is stronger than a beast. Brother Lonely, let's have a competition of strength today. What do you think? All right, the lonely man said loudly. Let's see if you, the strongest person in the Taekwondo League, or I, the 1,000-year-old Helyaksha, is stronger. Suddenly, Zhu Qingzhu flew to Lonzwan's upper body and grabbed both of Lonzwan's hands. The lonely man's giant beast also grabbed Zhu Qingzhu's arms. Let's fight on the ground, the lonely man said. All right, but your body is much bigger than mine. I can only float in the air, Zhu Qingzhu said. No need. I have a way, the lonely man said. Then, the lonely man fell to the ground. The demonic beast, which was dozens of meters in size, stomped on the ground, creating a huge crater that was dozens of meters deep. Then, Guda stood on top of the pit, while Zhu Qingzhu stood on the ground. Their hands were parallel to each other. Then they grabbed each other's arms. The lonely man said, Zhu Qingzhu, are you sure you want to do this? This kind of wrestling won't end unless one of them is torn apart alive. Of course, Zhu Qingzhu said. Then, the 2 of them suddenly bent down and roared, Rise! Rise! It was as if there was a thunderclap in the sky. Following these 2 sounds, the dust and gravel on the ground suddenly shot into the air. Then Zhu Qingzhu, who was only 9 meters tall, and the 1,000-year-old Helyaksha, who was 40 to 50 meters tall, began to compete in strength. 2 of the strongest people in the world began to compete in the most direct way. There was another roar. In an instant, a few million kilograms of strength exploded out. In an instant, the ground in a radius of dozens of miles shook. Qin Wancho crawled out from the snow and looked at Zhu Qingzhu. Regardless of whether he is good or evil, Zhu Qingzhu is a hero. That's right. When his brain broke away from power and returned to strength, he was indeed an indomitable hero, Dongfang Nimi said. Humans were really complicated creatures. That day, Zhu Qingzhu used the soul-devouring Xian Qi to frame Shimen Wuya. He was afraid that Shimen Wuya would become the strongest person in the world one day. But now, Zhu Qingzhu gave up on using the soul-devouring beast to kill the lonely man. It was as if Zhu Qingzhu, who had been completely demonized, was even more righteous than before. After releasing a few million kilograms of strength, Zhu Qingzhu and the lonely man were safe and sound. They did not move at all. What was the meaning of unparalleled strength? This was it. The 2 of them grabbed each other's arms and competed in strength. The 2 of them roared again. In an instant, an even more powerful force burst out. Then, the ground suddenly trembled, and the ground between the 2 of them was instantly torn apart by an incomparably huge force. The 2 of them were still equally matched. How powerful was the 1,000-year-old Yaksha beast? It was easy to imagine. As a human, Zhu Qingzhu could shift his sea of qi into the strength of his golden arms. Ah! The solitary man suddenly roared. In an instant, the ground under his feet could no longer withstand the force. After a loud explosion, it suddenly collapsed. Ah! Zhu Qingzhu roared. The ground dozens of kilometers under his feet couldn't bear the pressure at all. It caved in and exploded. In an instant, a body that was dozens of meters tall, and a body that was 9 meters tall was completely buried in the ground. They could not be seen at all. Then a thunderous roar could be heard. Then, like an earthquake, the mountain shook and the ground shook. Huge rocks flew everywhere. No one knew who had won or lost. No one knew who had won or lost. The only thing that could be felt was the two people's roars. Whoever let out the last roar should be the winner. Roar! All of a sudden, a roar that sounded like the descent of a devil came from underground. This roar continued without end. The ground within 100 miles exploded, and countless amounts of energy shot out from the cracks. A huge mountain range suddenly split open from the middle, and was torn into two halves. The last roar came from the 1,000-year Wuxia. For some reason, this roar did not stop. Although Zhu Qingzhu was the enemy, Yang Dingtian's heart still darkened when he heard that the last roar was made by the lonely man. At this moment, a huge crack suddenly appeared on the ground. Then a red body rushed into the sky. It was the 1,000-year-old Wuxia, that was dozens of meters tall. It suddenly shot thousands of meters into the sky. Then whoosh, blood rained down from the sky. Flesh and blood splattered down from the sky. The 1,000-year-old Wuxia that was dozens of meters tall was torn from the middle and died completely. Then a white light rushed into the sky. It was Zhu Qingzhu. He was still safe and sound. His two golden hands were clenched into fists. Under the illumination of the golden light and the rain of blood, Zhu Qingzhu looked like a god that had descended to the mortal world. He, a mortal, had actually won against a 1,000-year-old Hell Wuxia in a contest of strength. It was a naked contest of strength. He actually tore a 1,000-year-old Wuxia apart. "I'm sorry, Brother Lonely. You've lost," Zhu Qingzhu said slowly. A light figure slowly flew out from the Wuxia's corpse. It was the lonely man's soul that was protected by the evil spirit. "Yes, I've lost. I've lost the body of the 1,000-year-old Wuxia, and the body of a 7 stars martial grandmaster," the lonely man said. "But from another perspective, I've been freed." Then the lonely man said, "Zhu Qingzhu, do you want to eat my soul? If you don't, I'll go back." "I'm not eating," Zhu Qingzhu said. "Then goodbye," the lonely man said. Then, his soul turned into a white light and flew toward the north. Finally, Zhu Qingzhu looked at Ning Wuming. "It's finally your turn, Ning Wuming," Zhu Qingzhu said. At this moment, Ning Wuming's entire body, from top to bottom, from the inside to the outside, was trembling in shock. He painfully got up from the ground and touched the blood at the corner of his mouth. He still regretted it. He regretted it so much that he wanted to die. If he knew that Zhu Qingzhu was so strong, he definitely would not have turned against him. Ning Wuming sighed. "Yes, it's my turn. Sect Master Zhu, can you let me prepare a little before I fight you? There's no need to fight between me and a dog. You're not qualified to fight me," Zhu Qingzhu said. "But even if you want to kill a dog, you can let this dog prepare a little." Then, Ning Wuming said. Then he gritted his teeth and said, "It's really painful. I'll definitely be in so much pain that I'll die." Everyone was puzzled. What did he mean? Ning Wuming stretched out his hand and opened a box. "The things inside are not mine. I was planning to give them to a woman." Ning Wuming frowned. "But now, I have no choice but to save my life." He took out a piece of clothing from the box. It was a demonic spirit mist clothing that looked like a black shadow. Evil ways had killed so many demonic spirits. Where did all the items go? They were all here. Then he took out a set of armor. It was the demonic spirit black armor. Demonic spirits were not afraid of any energy damage, because they had a heaven-defying energy shield on their body. It was an energy shield that could only be broken by a few hundred experts for a day. Now this energy shield had been forged into the demonic spirit black armor. Not to mention that it was absolutely impenetrable. It could also resist any kind of damage. Then he took out a complete demonic spirit claw. It was an indestructible demonic spirit claw, and it was a modified demonic spirit claw. Wuxia of the Vulture sect had done everything he could and prepared for decades. It was to make a demonic spirit mist clothing and demonic spirit black armor for Vulture. Currently, the demonic spirit mist clothing was almost ready. However, the demonic spirit black armor that could resist all kinds of damage was not even enough for a Dudu. Ning Wuming did not know how many demonic spirits he had killed. These few peerless treasures were originally intended for Wu Maji. Now, in order to save his life, he could only use them himself. He wore the demonic spirit black armor. It did not fit him well. Then he put on the demonic spirit mist clothing. Then he put on the demonic spirit claw. In an instant, the most expensive equipment in the world was all worn by Ning Wuming. With such a set of equipment, Ning Wuming could even kill a great grandmaster. However, Zhu Qingzhu did not care. After wearing it, Ning Wuming looked at the claws in his hand in a daze. Ning Wuming, are you done? Zhu Qingzhu asked. Soon. Ning Wuming's face twisted in pain. It will definitely hurt. It will definitely hurt. I might even die from the pain. Still, no one understood what he meant. However, everyone understood what was going on. Ning Wuming's demonic spirit black claws suddenly pierced into his own eyes and dug out his eyeballs. His eyeballs that were dripping with blood were directly dug out. Only 2 black and bloody holes were left on Ning Wuming's handsome face. Ah! Ning Wuming let out an incomparably mournful cry. Although his voice was not as loud as the Millennium Yiksha's, it was the most hair-raising and soul-shattering sound. His screams were extremely mournful. All the hair on Yang Dingtian's body stood up. Not only was he vicious to others, but he was even more vicious to himself. Ning Wuming actually dug out his own eyes while he was still alive. Then, he quickly took out 2 gem-like demonic spirit eyes from his arms and stuffed them into his own eye holes. These 2 demonic spirit eyes were completely black, but they released a strange light. Demonic spirit eyes. They possessed incomparably terrifying mental strength. Once glanced at, one's soul and mind would instantly shatter. Yang Dingtian had a strong will, but when he was glanced at by the demonic spirit eyes, it was as if a bomb had exploded in his head. In an instant, all his rationality, will and consciousness were blown to smithereens. Then, he went berserk and injured Qin Huayu and Song Chunhua. He went berserk for a few hours, only to be glanced at. The 2 black demonic spirit eyes were inlaid on Ning Wuming's handsome face. It was incomparably strange. This was because these 2 eyes were too bright. There was only black and no white. Everyone even felt that the current Ning Wuming was far more strange and terrifying than the Helyiksha just now. Ouch. It really hurts. Ning Wuming kept groaning and groaning. Then, in front of everyone, he began to adjust the demonic spirit eyes in his eye sockets. Seeing this scene, not only did everyone shiver, even Zhu Qingzhu's facial muscles twitched slightly. Sect Master Zhu, I forgot to tell you. Actually, I'm good at mental strength, Ning Wuming said. You keep saying that I'm a dog, and all of you keep saying that I'm a dog. Fine, I'll be the dog, alright? I'm a snob, so I dug out my dog eyes and replaced them with the eyes of a demon. Now this dog of mine is going to bite people. After saying this, his demonic spirit eyes seemed to come alive and grew completely in his eye sockets. Then, they suddenly released a dazzling light that swept across everyone present. In an instant, those who were swept by his gaze felt as if their brains had exploded, and their souls were instantly scattered. Chapter 585. Everyone who was hit by Ning Wuming's gaze instantly froze, as if they had been hit by a body-freezing spell. Zhu Qingzhu's expression changed, then he sneered. Is that all you've got? Ning Wuming smiled sinisterly. Then he shot his gaze at Zhu Qingzhu. Zhu Qingzhu's eyes widened as he stared back at Ning Wuming. He did not believe that he would be afraid of a dog like Ning Wuming, even if this dog had a different pair of eyes. However, half a second later, Zhu Qingzhu felt his brain explode as a white light flashed. In an instant, his soul felt like it was being torn apart. Ah! Zhu Qingzhu roared as blood spurted out of his mouth. Of course, it was not because Ning Wuming's demon spirit eyes had any offensive power. but because Zhu Qingzhu was using his evil spirit and celestial qi to suppress the chaotic soul in his brain, causing him to bleed. Zhu Qingzhu's face twitched as he sneered. Your dog eyes are indeed powerful. It's the same if I close my eyes and kill you. Then, Zhu Qingzhu tore a piece of cloth and tied his eyes. At this time, the dozens of masters who had been hit by Ning Wuming's gaze finally recovered a little. Seeing Zhu Qingzhu close his eyes, they quickly followed suit. However, it was useless. Even if these masters closed their eyes, their souls would instantly disperse after being hit by Ning Wuming's demon spirit eyes. This time, it was not as if they had been hit by a body-freezing spell. Instead, they screamed in agony. Ah! The dozens of masters, whether they were from the Black Heaven sect or the Southern Seas Ning clan, all held their heads and screamed in agony. Is that all you've got? Zhu Qingzhu laughed. Then not only can I cover my eyes, I can even tie my hands and kill you, dog. Is that so? Ning Wuming laughed. Then give it a try. Then, Ning Wuming's figure flashed and disappeared without a trace like a bolt of lightning. It was the demon spirit mist cloak. His demon spirit mist cloak was much stronger than Vulture's, and it could instantly cover a distance of 10 miles. Then in the next second, he appeared in the crowd of dozens of grandmasters. Go 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 my slaves! Ning Wuming laughed sinisterly and waved his hands. Be it the Black Heaven sect, the Ning clan, or even your Joyous Palace's experts, all of them were controlled like walking corpses. Whoosh 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 whoosh. One by one, the grandmasters shot toward Zhu Qingzhu like cannonballs. Every grandmaster-level powerhouse had a ferocious look on their faces. They were bloodthirsty, and they attacked Zhu Qingzhu crazily. Whoosh 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 whoosh. One after another, Zhu Qingzhu was surrounded by more than a dozen evolved Jing masters. Ha ha ha. Is that all you've got? Zhu Qingzhu sneered. He didn't even draw his sword. He didn't even have time to withdraw his golden arm. Like a bolt of lightning, he grabbed the grandmaster's legs and tore them apart. Ah! A mournful cry rang out. That advanced grandmaster was almost unable to resist at all. He was torn in half in an instant. Blood dripped, and his internal organs flew out. Then a frenzied soul flew out. Zhu Qingzhu's evil spirit doppelganger darted out and devoured the frenzied soul, chewing it and eating it alive. Even though Zhu Qingzhu was besieged by more than 10 grandmasters, his sea of qi still hadn't returned to its original position. However, he was still unscathed. The golden arm was like a bolt of lightning. It grabbed the grandmasters one by one and tore them apart. Zhu Qingzhu used the most brutal method to tear these grandmasters to death one by one. Then, his evil spirit doppelganger devoured their souls one by one. In the blink of an eye, more than a dozen grandmasters had been killed. Every single one of them was torn apart alive and had their souls eaten. Yang Dingtian and the rest who were watching from afar were completely stunned. Is he still human? This is a heaven-defying killing god. Dongfang Minmi and Qin Wancho were no longer as carefree as before. They simply lay in the snow and didn't come out. They looked at each other. Luckily, Yang Dingtian had plotted to make Zhu Qingzhu and Ning Wuming fight. Otherwise, they wouldn't even know how they died tonight. The other party had 6 grandmasters, and so did Yang Dingtian. They seemed to be evenly matched. However, if they really fought, the 6 grandmasters would probably all be killed by Zhu Qingzhu alone. Perhaps the only one who would survive in the end would be that extremely strong humanoid Xiao Xiao. In an instant, Zhu Qingzhu killed more than 10 grandmasters and devoured them all. His whole body was once again covered in blood. This person was really strange. When he was covered in his own blood, he shook it all off. However, when he was covered in other people's blood, he kept it on his body like a blood-red battle robe. Ha ha ha. Satisfying, satisfying. Zhu Qingzhu laughed. Dog Wuming, come again. Hearing such a humiliating name, Ning Wuming's face turned completely hideous. All right, I'll fulfill your wish, Ning Wuming said sternly. Then he waved his hands wildly. Go 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 go. Just now, all the grandmasters from Joyous Palace were killed by Zhu Qingzhu alone. Now Ning Wuming had thrown all the grandmasters from the Ning clan and Black Heaven sect over. Ha ha ha, Zhu Qingzhu, you're neither a human nor a ghost now. Why don't you kill everyone from your Black Heaven sect? Ning Wuming laughed loudly. Suddenly, more than 20 grandmasters pounced on Zhu Qingzhu and surrounded him in a frenzy. All of a sudden, Zhu Qingzhu was in trouble. Because his eyes were closed, he could only rely on his mind to distinguish between the Black Heaven sect and Ning clan. Therefore, he could not kill quickly. He had to distinguish them first before killing. Whoosh 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 whoosh. More than 20 swords slashed at Zhu Qingzhu in a frenzy. Zhu Qingzhu's figure was faster than lightning as he frantically dodged these swords. His hands were still grabbing every grandmaster at lightning speed. When he found out that they were from the Black Heaven sect, he would throw them aside. When he found out that they were from the Ning clan, he would tear them apart instantly. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. After a while, a few more grandmasters from the Ning clan were torn apart and their souls were devoured. After the grandmasters from the Black Heaven sect were spared by Zhu Qingzhu, they still could not regain their senses and attacked Zhu Qingzhu in a frenzy. Zhu Qingzhu could neither kill nor fight, so he could only frantically dodge. Instantly, he fell into a passive state and was slashed dozens of times. His entire back was covered in blood. Ning Wuming, I'll fuck your mother. I'll tear you into pieces. Tear you into pieces. Zhu Qingzhu could not resist being attacked by more than 20 of his own people. He was instantly enraged and attacked the Ning clan even more viciously. When Zhuo Qingqi saw this, he gritted his teeth and flew toward Zhu Qingzhu to help him block the attacks. Ha ha ha. Another walking corpse. Ning Wuming laughed loudly. Then he suddenly appeared in front of Zhuo Qingqi. His eyes instantly shot out a terrifying light. When Zhuo Qingqi saw Ning Wuming suddenly appear in front of him, he immediately slashed down with his sword. However, the light from the demon spirit eye instantly pierced his soul. Boom! Instantly, Zhuo Qingqi's soul exploded. His eyes instantly turned blood red. Then, the Grandmaster Zhuo Qingqi instantly turned into a murderous demon and charged toward Zhu Qingzhu. No words could describe Zhu Qingzhu's anger at this moment. That despicable dog Ning Wuming was actually so despicable. Zhu Qingzhu could not resist the attacks of a 6-star Grandmaster. He could only dodge, which was a little difficult for him to endure. Then an extremely bloody and strange scene appeared in the sky. Zhuo Qingqi and more than 20 Black Heaven sect elites chased after Zhu Qingzhu. As for Zhu Qingzhu, he could only desperately dodge. Since he could not fight back, he risked his life to kill the Ning clan elites. Swish, 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 swish. Zhu Qingzhu's back was slashed by sharp swords. Blood splattered everywhere, especially Zhuo Qingqi's swords. Every slash penetrated his bones. It was extremely tragic. Even the energy of a second-grade evil spirit could not heal his injuries. After the furious Zhu Qingzhu caught the Ning clan elites, he did not just tear them apart. In order to vent the anger in his heart, he used an even more ruthless method to kill them. He grabbed a Ning clan elite with each hand, then raised his golden fist and smashed it wildly. Bam, 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 bam. A fist smashed down, and the entire head exploded like a watermelon. Another fist smashed down, and half of the body was instantly pulverized. Blood and flesh splattered everywhere. After 4 or 5 fists, the entire person evaporated, turning into blood and minced meat. Not even a fingernail-sized piece of flesh could be found. Zhu Qingzhu's fists had turned into a human flesh pulverizer. It did not matter what kind of armor you were wearing, how many stars you were at, what kind of evil spirit energy you had, what sorcery or mystic techniques you used. Every one of them did not exceed 5 fists, and they would make you disappear from the face of the earth. After killing you, he would chew your soul into pieces and swallow it into his stomach. This scene made Qin Wanqiu and Dongfang Mimi's hair stand on end. City Lord Qin, if we go out and help Zhu Qingzhu now, what will happen? Dongfang Mimi asked. We will be smashed to death by his fists and turned into minced meat, Qin Wanqiu said with a shiver. Just like this, Zhu Qingzhu used the most brutal method. His back was crazily chopped by his own people. He smashed the Ning clan's elites one by one, and they all disappeared from the world. In less than half an hour, all the Ning clan's elites had been killed, and they all disappeared from the world. Yang Dingtian, who was far away, licked his dry tongue. Today, Zhu Qingzhu alone had killed 4 martial grandmasters, and more than 30 martial grandmasters. Oh my god. He could not help but touch the back of his neck. Dog Wuming, it's your turn. Zhu Qingzhu roared in anger. Then, Zhu Qingzhu's figure rushed toward Ning Wuming like lightning. His speed was extremely fast. The speed at which he dashed out in an instant even produced a sonic boom effect. This speed was at least several times faster than Yang Dingtian's. Although they were dozens of miles apart, Zhu Qingzhu arrived in front of Ning Wuming in almost a moment. He stretched out his golden arm and wanted to grab Ning Wuming. However, Ning Wuming's body instantly disappeared from where he was and reappeared 5 kilometers away. No matter how fast a human's speed was, it could not be compared to a devil spirit. Ning Wuming, who was wearing the devil spirit mist cloak, appeared in an instant. No matter how fast Zhu Qingzhu was, he could not catch up. Just like this, Ning Wuming kept flashing in the air. Zhu Qingzhu chased frantically, but he could not catch up. Ah, how is it, old dog? Did I have fun playing with you? Ning Wuming sneered. Don't be complacent too early. Zhu Qingzhu laughed and then punched out. Suddenly, the terrifying black soul-devouring beast martial spirit flew out. Ha 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 ha. The soul-devouring beast laughed shrilly and pounced toward Ning Wuming. Wherever the soul-devouring beast passed, darkness and filth would appear. The soul-devouring beast's speed was even faster than Zhu Qingzhu's. It arrived in front of Ning Wuming in an instant. However, Ning Wuming stood in the same place without moving. Ha 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 ha. The soul-devouring beast martial spirit continued to laugh shrilly and was about to rush over Ning Wuming's head. Ning Wuming raised his head. His eyes instantly emitted a snow-white light that pierced into the soul-devouring beast's dark green eyes. Ah! The soul-devouring beast martial spirit suddenly let out an incomparably miserable scream. Bang 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 bang. In an instant, the ice on the mountain peak 100 miles away was completely shattered. The tiles within 100 miles could not withstand such a shrill sound, and were instantly shattered. All the people with low cultivation within 100 miles could not withstand it. Their eardrums were torn and blood spurted out. Boom! Then, the soul-devouring beast martial spirit's body suddenly exploded, and instantly turned into black shadows that filled the sky. Ha ha ha! Ning Wuming laughed and said, Old dog, have you run out of tricks? I still have more. Then, Ning Wuming stared at the black shadows that filled the sky, and condensed his palm in the air. In an instant, the black shadows that filled the sky condensed, and turned back into the soul-devouring beast martial spirit. However, it was no longer a shrill laugh but a crazy scream. Go, eat this old dog for me, Ning Wuming said sternly. Suddenly, the soul-devouring beast screamed and madly tried to devour Zhu Qingzhu. Almost instantly, the entire soul-devouring beast madly surrounded Zhu Qingzhu. Whoosh! The evil spirit clone instantly enveloped Zhu Qingzhu's body completely. The soul-devouring beast madly bit and bit, but it could not do anything to the evil spirit energy shield. It could not do anything to Zhu Qingzhu. If I can't kill you, then kill the people from your Black Heaven sect. They can't take it, right? Ning Wuming laughed. Ning Wuming waved his hand. Whoosh! In an instant, the soul-devouring beast pounced on the Black Heaven sect's masters. The soul-devouring beast could not do anything to Zhu Qingzhu, but it was like slaughtering chickens and dogs to the Black Heaven sect's masters. In an instant, it was about to devour all of the Black Heaven sect's masters. Wherever it passed, the Black Heaven sect's masters instantly turned into mud and half of their bodies were instantly contaminated. Despicable dog Wuming, I'll tear you into pieces. Zhu Qingzhu was furious. Then, he opened his arms and his body emitted a golden light. He shouted, Withdraw! Suddenly, his entire body was like a whirlpool. The soul-devouring beast's demon soul struggled madly, but it was still taken back into Zhu Qingzhu's body. At this time, the 4 Black Heaven sect's masters' bodies were completely rotten. Zhu Qingzhu glanced at them. His eyes were blood-red, and he looked at Ning Wuming, as if he was going to spit fire. Ning Wuming, I'll definitely tear you into pieces. Definitely. Ning Wuming sneered. Old dog, I'm afraid you don't have that ability yet. After saying that, Ning Wuming flashed and disappeared quickly as if he was showing off. He circled around Zhu Qingzhu crazily. In terms of cultivation, 100 Ning Wuming could not compare to Zhu Qingzhu. However, he had the demon spirit eye, the demon spirit black armor, and the craziest flash technique. There was no way to defeat him, because he could not hit him at all. No matter how powerful he was, it was useless. I'll give it a try, Zhu Qingzhu said coldly. Then he clasped his hands together and shouted, "Out!" In an instant, countless light and shadow avatars flew out of his body. 3, 5, 10, 20, 50, 100, 1000, 10,000. Countless light and shadow avatars shot out. In an instant, the most magnificent scene in the entire sky appeared. Countless Zhu Qingzhu appeared between heaven and earth in a grandiose manner, as if they were paving the ground. Ha ha ha. Ning Wuming sneered. Old dog, these avatars of yours can't even withstand a single blow. They're useless. Is that so? Zhu Qingzhu smiled faintly. Disperse, Zhu Qingzhu shouted. In an instant, countless light and shadow avatars of Zhu Qingzhu scattered in all directions. Shield. Countless Zhu Qingzhus formed an incomparably huge energy shield that covered 10 miles of space. It completely enveloped Ning Wuming, himself, and all the Black Heaven Sect's masters. Spin! In an instant, the energy shield spun wildly. Everyone who saw this scene would be shocked for the rest of their lives. Countless Zhu Qingzhu's light and shadow avatars formed a huge sphere that spun wildly. This energy sphere had a diameter of 10 miles. As it spun wildly, it overflowed with brilliance and vibrant colors. It was magnificent. Ning Wuming's expression suddenly changed. Then he flashed crazily. Bang, 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 bang. However, the space within 10 miles of him was completely covered by the energy sphere. Every time he flashed, he would hit the energy wall and be bounced back. Now where are you going? Zhu Qingzhu sneered and slowly walked toward Ning Wuming. Ha ha ha. Ning Wuming continued to flash. 10 miles of space is enough for me to escape. I'd like to see how long your energy can sustain this evil energy shield. Then, Ning Wuming continued to flash wildly. That's right. Although 10 miles of space was a little small, it was still enough for him to flash and escape. Is that so? Zhu Qingzhu sneered, and then retracted his palm. Condense. Then, the rapidly spinning energy shield quickly became smaller and smaller. Ning Wuming's expression changed. If it was 10 miles of space, he could still flash and escape. If it was only 1 mile, then he would definitely die. It was like a person catching a mouse. It was not easy to catch a mouse in a 10 square meter house, but it was easy to trample it to death in a 1 square meter space. If it was only 0.1 square meters of space, then the mouse would definitely die. The energy shield spun rapidly and shrunk rapidly. Ning Wuming waved his hand. Immediately, Zhuo Qingqi and all the elites of Black Heaven Sect surrounded Zhu Qingzhu and attacked him. After the energy shield shrunk, Zhu Qingzhu could not escape anymore. Moreover, he was being chased by more than 10 of his own people. Almost instantly, he was surrounded by Zhuo Qingqi and the rest of the elites, and was being attacked. At this time, his evil energy had formed an energy shield, and could no longer protect his body. In an instant he was covered in blood. Ah! Zhu Qingzhu roared, condensing ice shield. Almost instantly, Zhu Qingzhu's body was covered in a layer of frost. Then it condensed into ice. Layer by layer, layer by layer, layer by layer. After a while, Zhu Qingzhu's entire body was covered in frost. Then, he allowed Zhuo Qingqi and the rest to attack him with their swords. Zhuo Qingqi's sword was too frightening. With just one slash, the impenetrable frost was torn apart, and the sword cut into his flesh. Zhu Qingzhu gritted his teeth and stood still. He allowed himself to be attacked and quickly condensed into ice to protect his body. He used all his energy to control the shrinking of the energy shield. As the energy shield shrunk, Ning Wuming was being pulled closer and closer. Meanwhile, Zhu Qingzhu was being hacked into a bloody mess by Zhuo Qingqi. His condensing ice shield could block the other Grandmaster's swords, but it could not block Zhuo Qingqi's sword. As the energy shield shrunk, Ning Wuming began to feel fear and panic. This was because Zhu Qingzhu's face, which was filled with anger and hatred, was getting closer and closer. Once the energy shield shrunk to a certain extent, the two of them would face each other. Ning Wuming would be dead for sure. At this time, Zhu Qingzhu was no longer human after being hacked by Zhuo Qingqi. His body was covered in blood, and his flesh was torn apart. It was a horrifying sight. As most of the evil spirit's energy was used to maintain the energy shield, it could not be used to heal his injuries. Zhu Qingzhu's injuries were getting worse. Hee dog Wuming, are you dead meat? Zhu Qingzhu sneered. That's not necessarily true. Ning Wuming sneered. Your evil spirit has already left your body. What do you think will happen if another grandmaster self-destructs at this time? Zhu Qingzhu's expression changed. He shouted, Ning Wuming, how dare you? Why wouldn't I dare to do something so beneficial? Ning Wuming laughed and said, your evil spirit energy shield is so powerful and tightly wrapped around him. If you ask Great Grandmaster Zhuo Qingqi to detonate his Qi, he will definitely be killed. If Zhu Qingzhu explodes his self-destruct, you and everyone in Black Heaven sect will be smashed to pieces. As for me, of course, I will be safe and sound. That's because my dark spirit black armor is quite powerful. Then, Ning Wuming waved his hands. Instantly Zhuo Qingqi, who was being controlled, stopped attacking and his body trembled. In an instant, Zhuo Qingqi's body gradually turned red. Then, his xian veins began to crack inch by inch. Countless rays of red light shot out from his body. Finally, the sea of qi in his lower abdomen began to crack, and a shocking light shot out. Zhuo Qingqi's sea of qi was beginning to be destroyed. Zhuo Qingqi, a 6-star grandmaster, was going to self-destruct. Now if Zhuo Qingqi self-destructed, everyone in the energy shield would be smashed to pieces, including Ning Wuming. All the elites in Black Heaven sect would be completely wiped out. Yang Dingtian immediately gave the order to release the phantom spirit demonic matriarch. It wanted to completely freeze Zhuo Qingqi's xian veins and sea of qi. At this time, no matter how dangerous it was, they had to save him. How about it? You can only retract your energy shield, right? Ning Wuming laughed sinisterly. Not necessarily. Zhu Qingzhu laughed. Then his body shook violently. Bam! The ice on Zhu Qingzhu's body shattered. Then, he allowed the dozens of grandmasters to hack at him, and placed his palm on Zhuo Qingqi's head. Instantly, an extremely cold energy penetrated his body. Almost instantly, Zhuo Qingqi's body froze into ice at a speed visible to the naked eye. Then his xian veins froze. The self-destruction of his entire sea of qi was forcefully suppressed. He can't move now. Kill him. Ning Wuming said sternly. Instantly, the dozens of Black Heaven sect grandmasters, who were under his control, began to attack Zhu Qingzhu. Zhu Qingzhu's entire back was ripped open, revealing his white bones. Zhu Qingzhu's lips twitched. A blue ice started to spread from Zhuo Qingqi's body to his body. Then the ice shield protected his entire body. No matter how the grandmasters hacked at him, he was unharmed. Just like that, Zhu Qingzhu not only suppressed Zhuo Qingqi's self-destruction, but also protected himself. He even controlled the shrinking of his energy shield. However, the shrinking speed was getting slower and slower. Haha, impressive, impressive. Ning Wuming laughed coldly. However, if all of your remaining grandmasters self-destruct, you probably won't be able to take it. Destroy. Destroy them all. Today, I will wipe Black Heaven sect off the face of this world. Ning Wuming roared. Boom, 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 boom. In an instant, the clothes on the dozens of Black Heaven sect grandmasters exploded. Their xian veins began to shatter. Countless rays of red light shot out from their bodies. Then, the sea of qi of the grandmasters began to tear apart. The grandmasters were going to self-destruct at the same time. Zhu Qingzhu, who was trapped in the ice, was in despair. He might be able to suppress Zhuo Qingqi, but he could not suppress the rest of the Black Heaven sect grandmasters. Suddenly, a crazy light shot out from Zhu Qingzhu's eyes. This light made Ning Wuming even more terrified. Your dark spirit black armor can withstand the self-destruction of a grandmaster. It can withstand the self-destruction of dozens of grandmasters. What if a 9-star grandmaster joins the fray? Zhu Qingzhu sneered. Ning Wuming's expression changed drastically. He trembled as he said, Zhu Qingzhu, why, you're crazy. You're crazy. As long as you remove your energy shield and let me escape, you won't have to die. You won't have to die. Didn't you say that you'll let me go? Hehe. It's too late. Zhu Qingzhu sneered. Losing to Yang Dingtian has already made me vomit blood. However, I can still accept it. After all, he's a junior. A talented junior. However, I'd rather die than lose to a dog. So let's all die together. Then, Zhu Qingzhu slowly closed his eyes. His Xian meridians and Sea of Qi began to tear apart. He was the sect leader of the Black Heaven sect, a powerhouse who was only one step away from becoming a half-saint. However, he wanted to die together with Ning Wuming. Ning Wuming was right. As long as he removed his energy shield and kept the second great evil spirit back into his body, he would be fine. However, Ning Wuming would be able to escape if he did that. Zhu Qingzhu had knelt down before, and he saw it as a great humiliation. He had said that he would not kneel again. He saw Ning Wuming as a dog. If he was forced to compromise by Ning Wuming, it would be worse than killing him. Therefore, he chose to self-destruct his Sea of Qi and die together with Ning Wuming. Ning Wuming was completely terrified. He had completely lost his mind. No, sect leader Zhu, please don't. I still want to see my beloved woman. I can't die, I can't die. Ning Wuming wailed. Zhu Qingzhu was completely indifferent. He continued to tear apart his Sea of Qi. Suddenly 2 grandmasters and more than 10 grandmasters were about to self-destruct. Zhu Qingzhu and Ning Wuming were about to die together. Suddenly, a ray of white light flew across the sky. Yang Dingtian shot up into the sky and opened the energy box. Instantly, the 10,000-year-old illusory spirit demonic mother spat out icy energy. Almost instantly, everything inside the energy shield froze. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.